We've finally arrived here on the third day of the North American Winter Invitational. It's been a tumultuous weekend for some of these teams as we try to lock in that final spot for the San Diego Major. Welcome to the Rocket League Championship Series. I'm Leaf, and what better group of people to finish off our third regional here than Gibbs, James Bot, and Corelli. Y'all look hyped up. Good. Corelli, you look ready to go for today.
I'm excited. We got Daz here crying about Gen G. We've got FaZe here in the semifinals. We got Bates in the green room talking about G2. It's a lot of fun right now.
It's James. It's definitely exciting. This is going to be good. Are you prepared though for this 30 minutes of having to deal with Gibbs? That's the hard part.
You know, I honestly think that's one of the few things I'm an expert in. Okay. I've even shared hotel rooms.
He's practiced.
Oh, you did.
Those are bad times.
I'm so sorry to hear that, James.
Those were bad times. But Leaf, I'm excited because we are going to clinch our final spot for the major today. And it's in Optic's hands. No one thought that would be the case coming into this tournament, but here we are. 15 of the 16 teams are locked in. It's either going to be Optic or Dignitas, and we'll see who it is.
Well, as I mentioned, last stop. Look at where we are in the season right now. We are on our way to that San Diego Major. We're sitting in the Winter Split Invitational. Corelli, it's been flying by us this entire season, it feels like so far.
Yeah, I know you guys mentioned the same thing in the last pre-show, but
because it still blows my mind.
Boy, it's going by so fast. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, shoot, we're going into the Winter Major right now. Like, we're already there again. It's just going by so quickly, and the gameplay has been phenomenal through all the regions. It's been a lot of fun to watch so far, and I'm excited for this major. I think this major last year was really exciting with the way it ended. I think this major, this year, the Winter Major, will live up to the same thing.
And I trust Corelli, and you should too, which means you should probably be there after getting your tickets. ! Tickets in chat. Click on the link or type in rl.gg/Winter Major tickets live. It's always a blast. You know, you've heard me say it a million times, but it's because I'm speaking from the heart. I'm speaking the truth here, that it is a fantastic place to be. You want to be at one of these live events if you can make it and just celebrate some amazing Rocket League. So get your tickets, sign on there, click, buy now, get your play tickets, get your train tickets, get in your car, whatever it is to get over there, get going to
just get here.
San Diego. Just be there. But we do have to focus in. Gibbs mentioned, you know, we have a cool storyline going in today, but let's talk about how we got to that point. Let's get some highlights for anyone that made the mistake of not being here yesterday and watching. Let's start off with James. What you got for us?
So we're going to be starting this one off with version 1 versus G2. G2, they're almost like the final boss when it comes to North American Rocket League, or so it seems. They've been struggling lately, but this series, they're clutched up again, and a big part of it was thanks to Atomic. They got out to a hot start. V1, though, showed that they really are a competitor. Version 1, not the best split, not the best season so far for them, but you can still tell that they still got it. However, G2, I know from experience being an NRG fan, they just know how to win. They know how to win, and Atomic was the guy on that final shot.
Yeah, Atomic, he had the ice. You could see him finish it off there. And what about Optic, and Shopify Rebellion? Both these teams are not used to getting to this point in this tournament, this split, and Optic came out on top 4-2. It was a close series, though. Shopify, they've been kind of a rival for them here through close qualifiers and coming into the main event. Optic are finally able to take them down, and of course, sitting here in a semifinal, and they got a tall order ahead of them now, having to take on that G2 Esports squad.
But this kept Optic alive going into the next series, though. Dignitas could clinch when they played here, but they played Complexity, who's been unbeatable this entire split, outside of maybe a FaZe and Gen G. They're the #1 defense this entire split. They only gave up 4 goals in 25 minutes of action versus Dignitas. And now Dignitas has to sit at home and watch Optic, because if Optic wins this entire regional, Optic goes. If not, we will see Team Dignitas at the major.
And then you can't forget about the FaZe 1 Gen G matchup. This is what everybody was expecting in the grand final. And we were really expecting this one to be another exciting match. And it was. It was close games, but, you know, Chronic, he went on Twitter after this whole series, and he said it. He just said, FaZe, they're simply the better team right now. And FaZe showed it in this series. It seems like Gen G's success really lit a fire under FaZe. Also, Roldiz elevating the synergy of this team. We had a big talk about talent versus chemistry. Well, we knew FaZe had the talent. Now they finally got the chemistry.
And that puts us to today here. We have 4 teams left. FaZe, Complexity, Optic, and G2 sitting in the semifinals, Gibbs. I want you to reiterate as well. Look at Optic in the top 4 right now, still with that major lifeline in their hands.
Yes, but they have to beat G2, and then they have to beat either FaZe or Complexity, who have looked really, really good all split long. So it's a tall order. Percentage chances, we were talking about this in the green room. I have them about 10% chance. I know a lot of you have them closer to 20 to 25%, but it's going to be tough.
And for anyone that doesn't know what happens when they lose, for Dignitas, that's a good thing, right, Gibbs?
Yes, because Dignitas right now, they're in 5th place. They have 25 points. They are in right now. Every team below them is out except for Optic. They're sitting at 18 points. They can gain 8 more and beat Dignitas by 1 point for that spot. There's also a race for the number 1 overall seed. FaZe and Complexity are playing each other. Whoever wins that, they have to win the grand finals, and they will be the number 1 overall seed. If not, it'll be Gen G. G2, they cannot pass Gen G. So that is what is on the line for all these teams here.
Looking at those points, though, Corelli, is this everyone was so tight coming up? Excuse me, to this point. Is this NA depth we have right now?
Why do you always bring this up with me and James on the depth? I don't know at this point, Leaf. I have no idea.
You don't know yet?
It's deeper.
Can you believe this guy? What a cop-out answer. I don't know yet. What does it take for you to believe, Corelli? What are you going to have to see?
Someone winning. Someone that's coming out from the depths winning.
Well, someone's going to win today.
Well, yeah,
but you also have three. Come on, all right.
Our point is you have like 3 heavy favorites coming into this one. Optic, of course, would be a fantastic win, but like, yeah, I that's what I think. When I look at like depth, I'm looking at who's coming out from out of nowhere and it's just taking over the scene and winning. Gen G doesn't count; those were known players. I think Chronic is definitely maybe a check mark next to him for that, but those were known players, fantastic players that came over to NA and dominated. That's a different story. But like, I don't think there's like homegrown NA talent that I've seen that just like popped up like a Moist or something like that and started to take over.
Well, let's not worry about depth right now. Let's look at the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the best of the best. It's time for our top 3 plays. Corelli, what do we got?
Oh, we've got a lot of great stuff. Let's start it off with number 3. It's Optic and Shopify, a battle to keep their major hopes alive, and it's Memory with a flip reset bump goal over AJ. Look at the control in the second touch into the flip reset and then bops AJ out of the way to put it home. This was a crucial match for both teams, and don't you worry, this was not the only highlight we got from this one. AJ will get his revenge, and he gets a beautiful redirect off the back wall from the pass up from Reynolds, and you can see he races the boost there, pushes a player out of the way, and then takes the shot down. Is an angle that no defender is expecting him to hit, and what an incredible shot it was. But hold on, there might have been a player who did it better than AJ. It was Torment on version 1 over G2, and the special thing about this one is that he did it with 1 second left to tie it up against G2. Version 1, they were stingy, and Torment hits a worldie to keep him in the running.
There seems to be a trend right now, hitting shots like that. We had AJ yesterday in the potato, hitting the exact same angle.
These backwall redirects, people are getting good at them. I'm like, I don't understand how that works with the physics and all that. I'm like, I can't hit those for sure, but these guys are getting pretty consistent with them. So now you got to watch out about backwall defense, but also backwall on the other side with offense. So you got to bump them off your own backwall. Too hard playing defense nowadays, Leaf.
Okay, I want to move on to something interesting here. I want to find out how well everyone here knows each other. It's time for a little truth or lie. Yeah, Corelli, if James was lying, could you tell? Would you know?
No, because yes, because he always lies to me. He's a big liar. Yeah.
When's the last time I lied to you? What did I lie about?
He's lying right now. He's lying right now.
Always lies.
It actually is hard. James is a great improv artist. So, anyways, I've asked these guys to prepare a statement. I let them choose whether it's a truth or a lie, and their job is going to be to convince us and you guys at home that it's the opposite. So if they're telling the truth, they maybe want you to think it's a lie, so you guess wrong. We're going to get you guys involved. We're going to get them to make the statement. I'll start things off, and then these guys are going to guess whether it's a truth or lie. And chat, you're going to do yay or nay. whether you think it's a truth or a lie as well. Let's start it off with mine. Maybe this will be an easy into this. My statement is that to this day, I still think Cooksier is the greatest player.
Like the greatest of all time?
Yeah, I think he's the greatest player of all time for the esport of Rocket League.
Leaf does love Cooks.
Yeah, what
He talks about Cooks a lot.
I remember some season 2 calls from Leaf about Cooksier, so.
Okay. Well, Leaf, what in your opinion makes Cooksier the best player?
I think Cooksier was extremely influential on the scene. I mean, you look at Flipside Tactics introducing, albeit not perfected, the 3-man rotation. You saw Gibbs sitting in net all the time, and everyone's like, that's probably the way to do it. And it wasn't. To this day,
It was.
We got the 3-man rotation. The Cooksier twist is starting off that freestyling. You got the Cooksier pinch, and then just that FGC approach to the.
Oh, yes. The FGC.
That's where it is.
FGC.
Okay, all right.
I think he's lying.
All right,
comes
Twitch,
out.
we want to hear from you.
All right.
Yay or nay? Is Leaf telling the truth? Put it in chat.
I think he's lying.
Can
I get my theory?
If you think it's a truth.
Really? You think he's lying? Like, I think he's telling the truth.
So the reason I think he's telling the truth is because Leaf comes from FGC.
He does.
And he mentioned FGC. Like, he's super biased towards fighting games.
But he knows you
And-
know that, James. He knows you know that.
But Leaf is also completely delusional about 30% of the time. So you have to factor this in.
I'm also really good at Mafia, though.
My concern
I
is
think
it
he's
like
lying.
is it his favorite player? Because that is yes, for sure. I just don't know if he thinks he's the greatest player. But I'm still going to say that he's telling the truth. Twitch,
I think he's telling
we
the truth.
want to know. All right, so truth,
I said
lie.
lie.
What does Corelli
for
think,
us
though?
here.
I said lie. I think
Yeah,
he's
he
lying.
said lie. He said lie. All right,
So Corelli thinks lie. You guys think truth, and chat thinks that I am lying.
Leaf, what are you doing?
I believe that Cooksier is the greatest player of all time, and he had the most impact on the scene.
Nice, James.
I knew it.
Hotel buddies
true.
right here, James.
Yeah,
we
that's
got it.
Yeah, I think.
Let's go.
We also know that Leafex takes his shoes off in hotel rooms and leaves them in front of the door, even when he knows other people are
And then
going to have to
trip
come in the
over.
room.
Yeah.
What does
So
that have
this
to
is
do
how
with
well we know
Cooksier?
Keep
Leafex.
it on your
What is
thumbs, okay? I'm just keeping
This is
you
how well
sharp.
we know him.
Hey, tricky.
All right.
That's a point for me, I guess. Gibbs, what's your statement?
Okay, my statement is North America has only been better than their EU counterparts for maybe a total of 1 calendar year in the history of Rocket League. So Europe has always been better outside of small windows here or there that add up to less than a calendar year.
That seems very Gibbs-like. That's
Yeah.
super convincing right off the rip.
I don't think I need. I don't think I need. So the other thing about Gibbs though is he always tries to trick us with the craziest stats. Right? He's like a year. Right? He's like, actually, I think they've only been better for a year in 3 days.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
He's
like,
gonna
you
do
know,
that. He is
This
gonna do
was
that.
a very specific.
So
What was that
That's
voice?
true.
That's what I want. Excuse me.
Well, I mean, that's just the way I hear it, Gibbs. When you're doing trivia and you're asking questions, you're trying to get us with like the unexpected stuff.
Okay,
You're like,
well-
oh, it was actually, Jazer who subbed in for Flipside who had the most.
Oh
points
yeah.
per game.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You won't let me live that one
realized.
down,
I just realized. Yeah, he's talking about a time frame, not a season. So this is
Yes,
even
I'm-
more Gibbs-like now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Chat,
And we're gonna
let's
lose
get
this
chat
one on a
this.
technicality.
Chat, is Gibbs telling the truth or a lie with a statement of NA only being better for a calendar year? If I got all of those words summarized correctly.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, but that's normally how I roll.
Of course it is.
So,
Of course it is.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the analysts.
Yeah,
If you have any
I'll
final
go
questions.
Yeah. No. So I guess I don't even feel like I need to ask any questions. I think he's
All right,
telling
truth
the
or
truth.
lie, James?
I think he's telling the truth.
I'm with the truth
So,
as well.
I think Gibbs is absolutely telling the truth, but again,
All right.
you guys let
So
us
I will
know.
add it up for you. All right. So so it's about like 2 months with DreamHacks and like RLCS season 8. I felt like NA was better than EU. Then there was a 9-month span where NA was definitely better than all of EU.
Uh-oh.
That was during my career. But that is when NA was better because I was on the field.
During
so that equals 11
We knew it.
months of Rocket League, not 12. So yes, I am telling the truth.
Okay.
Europe has been better.
Do we get a point for calling
All right.
that was about to happen?
2 for 2.
Dude had to stroke his own ego too. That's incredible. I can't believe this.
No, this is
I had
great.
to. I had
I'm feeling
to.
it,
I
man.
had to.
That's wonderful. Okay, we're gonna move on. Chat guest. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's get James on the board here. James, tell us either a truth or a lie.
Yeah, and I'll also say I never thought knowing you guys so well would pay off in anything, but I guess I've been proven wrong. So anyway, I'll go with mine. It's simple. I think Furia should have stayed in SAM. They have lost out on so much prize money. They have lost out on international LAN appearances. They should have just stayed in SAM.
Now, is this a statement that you would have made before these first two splits? So I think that's the real take here. Like, you kind of have to back that up before they play. Because obviously right now, I do feel like, hey, they're not doing that well. So maybe, I'll go back to Sam. But so was that statement from before James or right now?
Stayed in. They shouldn't have moved.
They should have stayed. They should have never come.
They just should never have come here in the first place. Because it seemed to begin at the. I don't know. Because I feel like we've had a discussion, didn't we? I don't know if James was involved about talent moving to different regions and how it's good.
Yeah, I'm going to say that this is a lie from James, and I will not elaborate.
I think it might be a lie as well, because he'll probably think that Furia moving to NA, they can scrim NRG more, and that is great practice. So
don't talk to me about Furia and NRG. There's not a good history there.
Lie for that.
Yeah, that's why he wants less competition in the region for energy. Yeah, chat.
That'd be truth.
You guys are spamming away there. Okay, so what are we landing on, Corelli? You're landing on this being a lie.
Yes.
Okay, and that's Gibbs also a lie.
Yeah, so he thinks they should have moved to NA.
It's tough because I feel like the general consensus of the group was like moving is good. I have to say lie, and also statistically we're bound to get a lie soon. Maybe these could all be truths. All right, I'm going with lie. I'm calling lie too. Chat is James, you did a good job of.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a good statement then, because they're not quite
well,
sure.
I mean,
what do we got?
I'll say this: you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. It was a lie, baby. I was all for Fury. I think it was the right call. You can't know ahead of time. I think it's the natural progression.
Exactly.
Teams, when you want to get better, you go to play the best Rocket League. You go and you try to win. These guys are the ultimate competitors. These players are the ultimate competitors. They're not just happy where they're at. Was Complexity coming to North America a mistake? You could have said that a little bit ago, but no, it wasn't. I respect Furia doing it. And if they would have stayed in SAM, I guarantee you almost everybody would have said they should have gone to NA. So I don't want to hear it anymore.
100%.
Furia coming was the right move. And even if it doesn't pay out, at least they know, and at least they took the shot.
This is the first one that paid off for me. I knew James was very pro moving.
Chat got that one wrong too. So I think we're winning over chat right now. They're throwing. All right, Corelli, last statement. What do we got?
FaZe are the best team in the world.
FaZe?
FaZe.
In the world.
FaZe.
In the world.
Is the best team on production.
In all
that's
of
okay.
the world.
Okay.
FaZe. There you go.
FaZe are the best team in the world.
I don't know. I immediately don't buy that. I mean, like, how do you look past Gen G?
That's
obviously they lost.
FaZe,
how do you
FaZe has already looked past them twice.
All the teams in Europe?
Because FaZe is better than them. They're beating the team that beat them before.
So best team in the world currently. Like, if you had to pick a number one right now, okay.
FaZe number one right now.
No, I don't.
Okay, that I could see being a truth. That I could see, but obviously
this is the hard one.
Land, but like,
because
I could see him predicting them a win in Winter Major. I could definitely see that.
For the record, I did pick them last regional to win, and I did pick them this regional to win.
Sure, but that's just because this is regional. We're not talking in the world landscape right now. I don't think you think that they're better than you.
So I also this is extra difficult because Leaf, you said I'm good at improv. Well, Corelli is probably the best imposter that I have ever seen. So you know, you cannot believe a word that comes out of his mouth. And he also did the FaZe team stream, but Corelli also has no loyalty.
That's true. I'm gonna go lie, but
I think it's a lie.
I'm like 50-50, but I'm gonna go lie.
I'm on lie.
If you guys are going lie, I'm going for the win. I'm going to say he believes it. It's true. Corelli.
Okay,
please.
Chat. Let's get chat on the board. Chat thinks you are telling a lie drastically. They are very on side of you not telling the truth there. Corelli, lay it on.
He's haters. I am a big fat liar. I don't think FaZe is the best team in the world right now. No! I think they're close. They're close, but I do not think they're the best team.
I had a feeling. Okay. Well,
too obvious.
We'll just forget about. I'm not counting points or nothing here. The next one will have some points. We got to get to it though, because we got to crush out some trivia. Let's keep the game show rolling. Let's keep it on. Get your whiteboards
trivia,
out.
Leaf.
Yeah, let's get your whiteboards out. We're gonna speed through some trivia here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna start off right here. So get your brains ready. Here we go.
Oh, this is bad.
We're going to start off with a not multiple choice. If you guys suck at it, we'll switch this to multiple choice. Which major, and this is all going to be major stuff since we have San Diego coming up. Which major has had the most representation by country? What major was it that had the most representation by countries? Yeah. How many? So basically, which had the most country representation? How many countries were there? If you want to give me how many countries there was too, feel free. Bonus point.
Oh, yeah, right.
But again, I mean, there's only a certain amount of majors you can pick from. You know,
I'm American. I know like 4 countries.
All right. I got my answer.
You got
Wait,
your
like
answers down?
Which major from like we're talking about only majors from like basically last season and this season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the new age.
for going to
Because majors. Yeah, not worlds. Yeah.
Everyone in chat is going London. Let's see what you guys have. Flip them over.
I'm so bad with countries
I'm gonna
because
flip all
we're
you
from
guys
the US.
So James just gave up. He's
No, it's on the other side of the board.
Oh, I'm sorry. Fall of 21
I
is
didn't
what I
see.
meant. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, we're
Fall
supposed to answer now?
Fall 21. Yeah. You have
Fall
spring
21.
22. We have
that's
fall
all.
21 and fall 21.
21.
That'll be 2 points being handed out over to Gibbs and Corelli.
Oh, I was right.
Yes, you
Let's
were
go,
right.
Pirelli. Let's
Yes,
go.
the 21-22 fall major in Sweden, 16 countries. Now, fun fact, that'll change coming up to this winter major. It's going to be 18.
Look at that. D-Rec adding little bonuses into these trivia questions. Well done, D-Rec. Well
Yeah,
done.
shout out D-Rex. Sorry for all these questions. I would not have been able to. I'm not this smart. Next question here. Let's do multiple choice real quick.
Oh,
How many players have qualified for every major so far? Is it 1, 4, 7, or 9? How many players have qualified for every major so far? 1,
every major.
4, 7, or 9?
Does that include if they didn't make it to this major?
It says every major so far. So I'm looking at the
Okay,
players.
so not this major, not this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna change my answer. Okay.
This one. Is there?
Wait, it's all the majors, including this one, right? I wasn't paying
It
attention.
says
to what
every
said.
major so far.
So not this one is when
So
I'm
not this one.
Yes.
because like
Does that
Space Station
change it?
got knocked out. But they
What are the options again?
1, 4, 7, and 9.
So
We
far.
got your answers. We got to
Okay,
move on.
all right. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All
I was
right,
just making
flip your
sure.
boards. Flip your boards. We got a 7. We got a 7. We got a 7. You are all correct. Points to everybody.
Oh my goodness!
It was first
We are
Miller,
smart.
Atomic, Chicago,
I am-
J-Nabs, Ahmed,
It's all
O'Callaghan,
NA
and
players.
TRK.
I was trying. Yeah,
So
because I had figured out how many were this recent one, so I was trying to figure out. Yeah, okay.
Okay,
All right,
let's move
good,
on.
Good.
Next
I got
question.
points.
Next question.
Go,
Next
go, go,
question.
go.
Got points.
Who has scored the most total goals at a major? I'm going to give you multiple choice here.
No.
No.
No multiple choice. Let's
Okay,
go.
just give it. All right, fine.
No.
No multiple choice.
Me and James said no.
All right,
like-
who has scored the most total goals at majors?
Oh wait,
like team or player? Or?
like in one major?
Oh, sorry,
or-
player,
Yeah,
player,
whatever.
player,
All right,
player.
that's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
fine. I'm not gonna change my answer anyway. I'm just going.
Just
with
copy
it.
their
Let's go,
homework.
James.
Okay.
Wait,
What the heck? Corelli looked at ours first.
I know I did it. I was looking down.
No
Points to
way.
everybody. Points to everybody.
We're
All right.
smart.
He's a land
for
boy.
once.
All right, let's do one more here. I had more questions. We'll do one more here. Let's do it. Which region between Europe and North America has had more different players qualify for a major? If you want a bonus point, give me how many players it was. Which region has had more different players qualify for a major?
In overall, or are you saying?
Which
okay.
region has had, between Europe and North America, has had more different
come
players qualify? Gibbs is saying Europe. Do you know how many?
I'll just guess
Wait, are we-
and say like.
Are we not doing this all at the same time? We're all
You're
just
saying-
copying.
Yeah, come on.
What are you
I'm just going
doing?
27.
I just guessed the number. I didn't even have time to think about it.
19. Gibbs is the closest. 31. It's Europe. Y'all get points. Everybody wins. Look at this.
That was an
I
easy
win, I
question.
win. That's
That
what
was
I'm
an
hearing,
easy
Leave.
question.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
All right,
Thank
good.
you,
Now we
D-Rec,
have
for
questions
easy
for the future.
trivia.
Yeah, look.
I didn't even have time.
Shit.
Shout out to D-Rec for the questions. And chat, I hope you guys, we're doing well. You guys all get 1,000,000 points too. Let's
That
move
might have
on.
been
Let's
the
talk
first
about
test,
today.
at least.
We got to get past all the game show stuff. Let's take a look at the prize pool real quick as we dive into our first match coming up. $30,000 for first place. You guys know that. Points, obviously, the big important thing as we continue to sort out teams for that final spot for the major.
This
And
is
of course-
true.
This-
This is not a. Oh wait.
This is
Okay.
true.
Oh, my bad. I'm still stuck in the past.
Take a look at the bracket. A reminder here that we have Optic Gaming still trying to secure that 5th spot as they, again, gather points at everyone else first seeding as we head forward. Dignitas watching that match intently. And then here's your schedule. the matches in order. What we're going to have today, just 3 easy matches. Optic Gaming, G2 Esports starting it off. Let's dive into talking about that one, because that kickoff is coming its way very soon. G2 Esports and Optic Gaming. Corelli, this is a big one for Optic Gaming. They have to continue to win and carry forward, but it gets harder and harder as this bracket continues on.
Everyone wants to be the best, Leaf, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. And this is the opportunity here for Optic against G2. This is the match for them. This is the point where everyone says, okay, you're done with maybe a possible Mickey bracket getting to this point, having to go through maybe Shopify, not as strong as, the FaZe FaZe Gen G matchup that was above them. You got to beat the big boys if you want to be the best. This is the chance for Optic.
Now, to be fair, Optic, they earned that spot because they took down FaZe in groups. That is their only win versus a major team this entire year. So the fall, they went 0-5 versus major teams, 1-2 throughout the split so far here. So Optic, they have not looked good all year, but none of that matters if they can somehow pull off this huge miracle. But G2 on the other side, they've been in 5 regionals, no grand finals yet. They want to get over that hurdle as well.
Yeah, this is, James, just early looking at this. I feel like G2 has to come into this matchup with their heads high and a lot of confidence. Do you feel like there's a possibility of them underestimating the opponents on the other side of the field?
I think G2 might be the most mentally tough team that we've ever seen in the history of Rocket League. These guys are so consistent. A lot of times, when they get beat, it's just because a team is outplaying them, not because they're really getting in their own heads. I think the only time you could really say that is maybe in that World Championship Grand Final we saw them in last time. But, G2, I don't know. I think it's just going to come down to gameplay on the field, particularly from Atomic. Atomic is usually the person that G2 revolves around. He'll be making defensive stops, but also hitting some big shots like he did in Game 7 against Version 1. So, I think it's kind of a coin flip for me. I could go either way.
Optic Gaming, a reminder, trying to fight their way through this entire bracket for that 5th spot while Dignitas watches on with fate out of their hands. Both teams looking like they're coming in as comfortable. I don't know. Is that a nervous smile from Reddles? I feel like this. No, that's
Pirelli, how do you know that? How do you know it's not a nervous smile?
How many times have we really seen Reddles actually be nervous and show it? He's usually pretty stoic.
How do you know he doesn't show it with a smile?
That's what. Well, I'm saying I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we ever see him talk about him being nervous and showing it. I think he's actually pretty calm and stoic in a lot of these situations. So I think he knows what he's going up against too, right? Like, yeah, G2's a very known quantity here. I think that Reddles, they played them before on different teams. He knows what he's getting into.
G2, this is no surprise. He built his career on slaying G2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. And so it's like I don't think.
Yeah, you remember the Peeps back in Montreal?
And we have to talk about, they were tied for 14th to come into this regional. Optic. They had to pass 10 teams to get into the major. They're playing with house money right now. They're not supposed to be here. They're not supposed to even have a shot. But now they control their own fate. So I think they're not nervous. I think they're kind of like, wow, we actually have a shot at this, and let's go for it.
Yeah, so when you say they're playing with house money, they got to pay the mortgage. They're about to get evicted from the Winter Major if they don't.
But they weren't supposed to be here. I don't know.
Well, James, you said this was a coin flip. I feel like for most of us, this was a pretty straightforward answer, and you landed on the side of the green wall. What's the reasoning here?
So again, I feel like FaZe has been the best looking team, and Optic managed to beat them. And Optic, they are playing for everything right now. There's only 1 spot left at the major, and the only reason we don't know it is because Optic is still in the tournament and they're finding ways to win. And we've seen magical runs before from Reddles, and I think we might see another one now.
Chat, do you think they can do it? Ooh. Chat is going for the
underdog story.
Wow. Yeah. Hey,
like
to be fair,
the
best story in this bracket is going to be that as the result. Optic Gaming. We're going to find out. We have Stacks and Dazzler for this exciting matchup against Optic Gaming and G2. The green wall still looking to tear through the bracket to secure that final spot to the San Diego Major.
And once again, Reddles steps up as the underdog against a mighty G2 squad with everything on the line. Daz, does it sound familiar?
Oh, it does. It absolutely does. The question, though, can they continue to do some of the best Rocket League that they've had this, not even just in this split, their entire careers. AJ's at a career high goals per game. He's sitting at #1 in the event. Reddles with a career high assists per game and demos per game going into this. And Magic Bear with a season high goals per game and career high octane rating. These guys are playing some of the best Rocket League they've played as they are fighting for their lives to get to the Winter Major. The road continues on, though. They got to take down GG2.
Optic Gaming has literally saved its best for last, perhaps. With all the rumors swirling around this roster coming into this split, who knows what the future holds as that shot rings just a little high. Follow-up from JNaps is on target right at Reddles as JNaps gives G2 the lead.
JNaps always starts off with scoring strikes. We've seen him do it yesterday as well in the series against V1. Scoring in game one, good shot placement as always as he sets the tone here in game one.
So that first goal, less than a minute in, that G2 fans hoping takes the wind right out of the sails of Optic, but there's AJ, his shot blocked away at point blank range. Mentioned his historic numbers for his career. Player who has been hot and cold more so than a lot of players. JNaps trying to center here. He's got Chicago across the way. That's intercepted by Reddles. And AJ and Magic Bear, same spot at the same time. That's usually a recipe for disaster. Dropped down to Atomic, and Reddles interfered. Now AJ quickly the other way, can't get onto this, but Magic Bear can. And he's just gonna play that deep into the G2 zone and give them something to think about.
Got to keep an eye out on Magic Bear. He's been having a great performance this weekend. Can he continue to stay at that level? But also keep an eye out for AJ and Reddles too. Again, everyone from Optic have been surging. It's G2, even with their win yesterday, going game 7 against a version 1 team that was struggling all split long, they don't look unbeatable. I think Optic knows that.
Oh, that's dangerously close to the net, almost by accident. As Reddles has to get around AJ to try and get after this ball. Now Magic Bear, no pinch. And it's brought right back into AJ. JNaps had that ball right in his lap, and Reddles bails out Optic Gaming this time. Another opportunity, though, for G2 as they keep the pressure on. JNaps again, just pounding the backboard. Nobody there to follow up, so Chicago will get it at midfield, and this Optic squad still trailing by just a goal. They've taken some of G2's best shots and repelled most of them, except that one from JNaps. Reddles can't get around JNaps this time. Of course, JNaps and Reddles have had plenty of clashes throughout their career, 10 times in the RLCS, 12 if you want to count the grid. Back during RLCSX, they are 500 against each other as AJ goes past Atomic and Chicago lobs one right back in. Optic cannot get out of the zone for very long.
Reddles no stranger to being a part of a Cinderella story, so to speak, as he gives a pass to AJ, who almost was able to reach out. JNaps, a great cutout. How much more magic is left on the side of Optic? G2 pushing through. Atomic gets a demo, a bump. Chicago's the one with the demo on Reddles, but AJ clutch to make sure that doesn't turn into a scoring opportunity.
Atomic will dump this right back in. The pressure continues to mount, not just on the field, but mentally as well for Optic. Giving up that early goal can be very deflating as Magic Bear just jumped in front of Atomic to grab that corner boost and prevent the starve. Now Reddles, flip, reset, trying to create a lot. Didn't have much to work with. Magic Bear trying to dive bomb onto one and just got around Chicago. It's still available, but AJ can't add to his ridiculous tally in this tournament. He dropped from 1.64 goals per game down to 1.35 just because he didn't score at a superhuman pace yesterday.
Yeah,
he is still far and away #1 in the event.
Yep, still Optic here, they look strong even though they're down right now, right? They're, G2 lead by 1 in the final minute, but Optic have still been putting up the shots. They have been out shooting G2. Magic Bear with 5 shots of his own, and the pressure looks great from them. So a good opening game, and they have been, I would even say, getting even more settled on that offensive front as the game goes on, but not much time left in game 1. We're hitting that 30-second mark. Optic need to make something happen here if they want to start this series off high.
Been a very patient attack out of Optic Gaming, but now They've got to throw everything at G2. JNAP's double tap just off the mark. Reddles, all he could do is watch it. And now Magic Bear up ahead to AJ. Reddles trying to get involved in the play. Not happening. Now JNAPs rolls away from AJ. That's got to be the key. Keep away from the hottest player in the tournament. But now Chicago trying to get back across Reddles. AJ to Reddles for the tie. Blocked out in front. And one last chance for Optic. Almost falls by the wayside. Reddles keeping it alive, but always made a mess of things. That demo on AJ doesn't help, and G2 hangs on for game 1.
And now G2 get things rolling. Again, this squad definitely trying to secure their first regional victory of this split. And they've been continuing to press forward still with that solid offense. I mean, G2's coming down. They're giving us everything that we've expected here, but it's really Optic Gaming who's been playing it close. Go back to yesterday, same thing, same situation for Optic in the case of where version 1 was, where again, G2 is going to run through the motions. They're going to play their game. They're going to play their play style. But for Optic Gaming, remaining locked in mentally as you have so much on the line, you control your own destiny. It's important to stay just focused up and playing the best Rocket League you are in these very intense matches.
And it's very important to note, not just for the immediate short term here with the major on the line for Optic, a lot of other interested parties when we get towards the spring, because Optic winning this series alone would guarantee them passage into the main event in the Spring Open. That would bump some teams out into the closed qualifiers, particularly NRG. And then if Optic goes on to somehow win this whole thing and qualify for the major, Dignitas and NRG would play a tiebreaker for the last spot in the Spring Open. That's, of course, way down the line. There's a lot of immediate business here between G2 and Optic, and Atomic looking for another early goal for G2. There's Magic Bear just throwing it downfield and forcing Chicago to chase.
More fight coming out from Optic in game 2 as Reddles tries to force the issue there from JNAPs. AJ will leave it for Magic Bear, puts a quick shot on G2's net. Atomic there with the save out. Good pressure off the opener, but G2 is really the most dangerous when you get them on the counterattack. AJ, though, able to weather the storm, gets taken out for his efforts, and Magic Bear will go up across. Reddles was there to read it, but JNAPs has had a mark on Reddles. He's got to deny at least 3 of these shot opportunities.
Oh, he's not going to deny this one. It's going to be Atomic that has to. Reddles got through him, and JNAPs just ahead of Magic Bear. And now AJ can only slow down G2. JNAPs given all the time and space in the world, and AJ just goes right over top of him and forces G2 back to their own back line. This has been actually a much better looking attack out of Optic. They've been a little bit quicker this time around, but they still have not breached the G2 defense. Magic Bear just watching as that goes over his head from JNAPs, and AJ can't stay with this play, so Magic Bear has to throw it across.
A lot of preparation from Optic Gaming going into this one. And definitely, I think I saw Reddles streaming late at night last night, knowing that you have G2, which is a titan of a team, having to come out and you're using all the tape, all the knowledge here. And it's the semifinals matchup. They've been looking good so far as they pick up one. Magic Bear is going to catch G2 lacking, and Optic with the lead.
And a low 5 as well with Reddles, who technically gets the assist on this, so he continues his great tournament. And Magic Bear getting the first goal for Optic Gaming in this series, averaging 4 goals per series, a season high here. And not too far off his career high, which came back in the Torrent days, as Reddles will bank one out towards Chicago. And Atomic had that deflect off of Magic Bear. Could be trouble for Optic, but Reddles with a lot of pressure. AJ makes the save on a blistering shot from Chicago. And it's AJ to pop downfield again, going right at the G2 defense, but they are not bending much. They only got caught out one time, and when Optic kind of has these more sustained possessions, they haven't been able to get what we call a legit shot off, as Atomic rolls one through. He had 8 assists and didn't score until the end of Game 7 yesterday. He is on the board early here in Game 2.
Look at that. Great shot from Atomic. Magic Bear did get a piece of it, but his car was just a little too high, so it just slightly rolls past him, not able to get enough power to push that out of the goal line. And they give up one here. noticed too as well, when Atomic scores the game winner, I know a lot of G2 analysts noticing him on the Fennec today versus the Octane yesterday. Something to keep an eye on as this one all tied up. We're looking towards that bottom half now. G2 really trying to put on the pressure.
Magic Bear will start the counterattack here with AJ up in the air early. Couldn't get the flip reset off. Magic Bear close, but no cigar. And Atomic will send this away.
G2 taking this one slow. Nice 52. Atomic keeping that one really just on the ground. He had 0 boost to work with, so it was the best option there. Gained some ground, but chance here for a counter. Magic Bear in the midfield. Reynolds was a little late, so JNAP's got a 50 on the play. JNAP's again another 50, but there's some bumps on the play. Very awkward here for G2, but Chicago has enough space and time to at least clear this out in the midfield before AJ tries to put it back in. AJ playing it low. Atomic, though, with a great readout. So close. A lot of these plays on the ball. There's been great challenges from both sides, but G2 finally with a breakaway.
Oh, Magic Bear couldn't quite get to that, so now AJ's got to deal with it in the corner. It rolls out along the ceiling for Magic Bear. He'll play it along further, trying to get the dunk on JNAPS, but he ran out of juice. And now it's JNAPS with Chicago and Atomic both involved in the play behind him. Atomic doesn't have Chicago to pass to, so he's got to call an audible, take it himself, and gets knocked into the ball to get the clear. Reynolds with that save. AJ needs one more to get across the center line. He's got it. Now Magic Bear with AJ downfield trying to interfere, and it's not happening as Atomic credited with a save way up high.
AJ can turn on this. Race against JNAPS. He gets there to put a shot on, forcing the save out. Chicago, great clearing as well. Straight to JNAPS. Gonna give G2 some space. Magic Bear with the 50 in the sky, 30 seconds remaining, and no team has really broken, I say that, but JNAPS to the top left, giving G2 the lead.
JNAPS on the left side of the field just seems like the best player in the world. It seems like he scored all of his goals from right around that area. And now he's given G2 a 2-1 lead late in game 2. Almost certainly a timeout coming for Optic if they drop this game as well in heartbreaking fashion. Atomic blocked that. AJ tried to pass it out, but Magic Bear was on the side. Reynolds is too far forward. Timing just not there right now for Optic. Now they've only got 10 seconds to work with. Reynolds got to catch up to this. He barely does. What can they do to create, though? AJ up ahead. Reynolds is there. Atomic makes sure it goes to the corner. Chicago to the ground, not quite. Magic Bear doing all he can to keep this in the air, and it's not enough. JNAPS grounds it again, and G2 again gets Optic by a goal.
This time G2 strike late as well. Just kind of a lapse in rotation from Optic. JNAPS came in with that top left shot. Oh, goodness gracious, shot. Shocking.
For you to say.
Optic Gaming, I know, right? And of course, yeah, we do see timeout coming out from Optic here. So, I mean, kind of similar as we've seen from version 1 to G2. Yep. G2 started off early, forcing a timeout. The only difference is that G2 are starting to activate more offensively a little bit later on in the game. We're not seeing these long overtimes, and it is up to Optic here to kind of slow things down, because now you've lost 2 of your lives. You only got 2 more. You have to get things under control, and this is a perfect time to talk things over.
What Optic Gaming is trying to accomplish, the desk kind of touched on this, especially during the pre-show, has never been done in this era here of the RLCS. They came in tied for 14th alongside Shopify Rebellion, sitting on just 11 points coming in, or rather actually 8 points without the 3, of course, for just making the event. And they are trying to make it into the major, where, again, nobody outside the top 6 going into the final regional in NA has qualified for the major. Endpoint did it last spring as the number 8 team going into that 3rd regional. They finished 3rd to leapfrog over the likes of Vitality and Solary to claim that spot. See if Optic can turn things around now as we look back at the Mobile One high performance replay, and that strike right there from JNAPS, as he's been a thorn in Optic Gaming's side. You wonder if Optic can find an answer for the wily veteran Mr. Knapp. We'll find out here with about 30 seconds left in this timeout. you know, for Chicago in this series, only the 1 assist. He's been kind of their leading scorer throughout most of this season, and he's been quiet. That gives me cause for concern if I'm an Optic fan, because they're beating us without Chicago just going off.
And there are a lot of Optic fans today. I've seen people online just saying, "Oh, our team's out. We're now Green Wall fans, giving them all the energy." Is it enough? We'll find out here. But you're absolutely right with that note from Chicago. He has been quiet. Still could surge late as he actually comes through and makes a big save that could have stopped an early Optic goal here in Game 3.
And there is no clear game plan for taking down a team like G2. You can't just isolate somebody and say, all right, we got to make somebody else beat us. Because Atomic has even proven very capable of lighting up the scoreboard. Even though he's primarily an assist guy, you may get one here. Chicago rolls one almost on target and just sent away by Reynolds. Now JNaps back into the corner, trying to get AJ out of the play. Magic Bear will chase this down, and AJ's got that easily from the back wall, but he kind of gave it away to Atomic. Atomic looking to center again, and he could not. So now AJ gets around JNaps. Still can't breach the center line, though. Chicago keeps that in. Now, Red, I mean, everybody's just kind of jammed up in the corner right now for Optic. Finally, Magic Bear can get this across the center line. Can they at least stay there now and maybe get a couple decent looks? No, they can't.
Have to back out. You see Reynolds pushing this off to the side. Chicago, what's he going to do? Pass over. Atomic is there. And they're all just kind of waiting. No real aggressive attack coming out from G2 currently. They throw the ball up to Optic, see how Optic play it, and then they try to adjust here. As they realize, the position they're in this series, and they don't want to overextend, especially here on the offense. The defense from G2 has been very solid. We saw it even yesterday. Atomic had some amazing saves there against version 1, especially in that second game. So we know that they can stop an onslaught of shots, which they have been doing this series as well.
A lot of mental game going on right now between these two squads, seeing some fake challenges and wide turns, everybody changing speeds, and now I think G2 starting to settle in here after maybe a kind of a timid start to this game, wondering what Optic was going to throw at them, as you mentioned. Now Magic Bear has given that one away to Chicago. G2 trying to kind of put a sleeper hold on this series. That's going to go a little bit wide, and a chance now for AJ. Full tank of boost that pinches off of Atomic, and then Magic Bear taken out by JNaps, and that kills off the Optic attack again. Chicago up high, and Magic Bear there to meet him on the respawn.
Oh, good win too from Magic Bear. Look at Atomic. He has to go up for this. Pitches it out. Demo from Chicago. All the Optic fans, everyone who's believing in this run, are trying to figure out when is this team going to activate. They've known the potential. They've known all split long. They've known all season long. They haven't seen it yet, but G2 continues to test their mettle. Chicago now getting on the scoreboard.
Activate this. Reynolds, before he even realizes, Chicago has a look at it. Just could not recover. Inside the halfway mark now in game 3. G2's got another lead. AJ gotta go to work. Magic Bear has the only goal, and really was off a challenge. This is Reynolds from midfield to Magic Bear. Why not? Got through. It's still available, and JNaps an acrobatic clear. Oh, that was the chance for Optic. A rare G2 mistake, and they can't capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, even when Optic have had offense this game especially, someone's always getting demoed on that back end with their second or third man, which forces a complete switch up in how they're moving around the field. They've been able to navigate it, but they need a little more chance there. There's a bump, but JNaps again is shutting the door on Optic Gaming.
And Magic Bear can't push this over the bar. Chicago credited with a second goal, and G2 just tightening their hold on this series even more.
You saw AJ hand on the head there. Frustration starting to settle. Have Optic checked out. 1:32 to go. And an unfortunate mistake from Magic Bear makes this job a lot harder. G2 has made it clear. If you want to get to the major, you want to get through us, you are going to have to earn it.
G2 tried to reach a grand final and win a grand final. That one's just wide. Chicago will score, and Optic have fallen apart here at DFH Stadium.
JNaps, again, additional pressure. Another missed read for Magic Bear on that one. Chicago will clean it all up, and it's getting out of control. 3-goal lead, 1:13 left. Optic's backs are against this green wall. Can they break through?
I mean, Magic Bear has been by far the closest to scoring at all in this series for Optic Gaming. This goes out to the corner. Chicago come alive in this game after having only 1 assist through the first couple of games. He's got a hat trick now. JNaps out to the wing. More time off the clock as G2 seem quite content now. Well in control of this game, and more importantly, this series. Magic Bear trying to interfere with Atomic, get any kind of offense. JNaps, cheeky shot there, sent away by AJ, who has just been relegated to defense at this point. We have not seen the pop-off from AJ that we've seen all throughout this event. To be fair, he hadn't really faced the stiffest of opposition. FaZe Clan, of course, comes to mind. After that, you're looking at teams like Shopify Rebellion, not G2. And that's what Optic has to contend with now. By far their biggest test of the tournament, and they are struggling against a G2 squad that is not interested in fairy tales.
And even that last second play shut down. Big win for G2. Optic only were able to put up 4 shots. And every single time, G2 was able to shut it down right in front of the door. On the other side of things, Chicago shooting 50%. He scored all 3 goals out of 6 shots himself. Just the offense was completely there for G2. Frustration started to settle in for Optic towards the end, which even caused more mistakes. And now it's down to the last life.
1 life remains. Down 0-3 in a best of 7. We've seen stranger things, but this G2 squad looks determined to take their spot in the grand finals of the North American Winter Invitational. Sathu all smiles. Will it continue after this 5 minutes on Utopia? Is this the final resting place for Optic Rocket League? It's Magic Bear for AJ up ahead. Got to get on the same page some way, somehow, but it's JNaps that'll just twirl through the air and take all the air out of the ball.
Optic have to leave it all out there. G2 will take no prisoners in this series. They've let that be very obvious, but here's a chance. AJ gets it. Optic Gaming start this one off with the lead.
Finally, somebody else from Optic gets one. Chicago got caught out at midfield. Very tough read defensively coming off that post. Will it kind of turn in or not? AJ was all over it. So Optic's got the lead. Still got a lot of work to do here. 4.5, just under to go here in game 4. A game they must win to prolong their life. Magic Bear out to the wing. Defensively, it's coming on, just a little off, and AJ out towards Reynolds. He can't go for it. Couldn't get a piece of it coming off the side either. G2, it's almost like you're just waiting for them to break down the Optic green wall. Maybe
Bear.
it's G2 that breaks down. Magic Bear posting in, and here comes OG.
Couple of breakaways here. G2 a little too comfortable. Magic Bear able to push that one in off the post and in. And for the first time, we've seen Optic with a 2-goal lead.
Still 4 minutes. It feels like you're waiting for G2. You know they're going to get their shots, and there it is! Chicago, who's come alive over the last 6 minutes.
Look at this, Chicago, he takes the mid boost, just immediately forces this one through, plays it off of Reynolds' car, and then gets that challenge dunk. I mean, solid placement there on that 50 game. G2 within 1.
They add another, or when will they add another? That's kind of the question when you look at this G2 squad, the way they've been going in this event. Atomic quickly out towards JNAPS, who's running interference. Chicago can't get around AJ. And Magic Bear after Reynolds. Only Atomic to beat. JNAPS is not going to catch up. And Reynolds will score his first.
Yeah, Reynolds read this one perfectly. I mean, it was a risky play there for JNAPS to stay in so long. Atomic was hanging out on the wing. Reynolds realized he caught him. Atomic did get a piece of it, but he was too little too late. Optic regained that 2-goal lead. Still plenty of time, though, in this game. 3:31 here. It's a lot for Optic if they are able to hold on here against G2. I mean, this is a team that ramps up, especially as closer to when that clock hits 0. They get it right back here with a quick play.
I just can't pull away from this squad. They refuse to go away. AJ did all he could. It's a mess in front of the net. Atomic finds the soft spot in the defense, and they're right back within 1. 5 goals in just over 90 seconds of action.
Comes down to that composure as well. Being able to remain composed in front of the net. You know G2 can put on a lot of pressure, so the communication has to be on point.
I think they've got to know that Magic Bear is not leaving anything on the field at this point. He is going to bring it every time. The problem is he couldn't catch up to this, and Atomic will tie the game. And again, G2 finding ways to break Optic's heart.
I mean, it's a demo, and it's a good read on the situation from Atomic. He knows he has Magic Bear caught out. He knows AJ's on the wall, and he knows someone's coming back from the demo. All he has to do is put it on net. Good read from Atomic on that situation. It brings G2 back into this game. Optic had a 2-goal lead here, and it's diminished in less than a minute.
Chicago. JNAPS will bump it back over to him. Atomic will turn around at midfield. He's now going to circle back in. And AJ with the save. We've seen G2 kind of forced forward a lot into the Optic zone, and Optic haven't been able to deal with that pressure. Now Atomic battling with AJ. We'll get this out around Magic Bear. Drop it down for Chicago, and the Grim Reaper strikes again.
The defense on the backboard feels kind of non-existent. Magic puts a hand up. Reynolds goes next. No one can stop Atomic as he puts it in the middle, and Chicago just has to tap it in. G2 are doing an excellent job of working around Optic, and they are falling apart brick by brick. They need to get it together.
JNAPS just barely recovering from the kickoff to stop that kickoff goal effort. AJ trying to work his magic, and he just can't, so now it's on the Bear. He's got it out at the wing. Reynolds with the demo on. Atomic double tap, not there. JNAPS with the save, and Chicago lining one up, and AJ had it read the whole way. Opportunity now with Magic Bear. Gonna have to do it himself as Reynolds went off for that midfield boost. And Atomic has all day to play this. Reynolds hanging around at midfield. He'll bring it back into the zone. But now it's Optic that has to play from behind for the first time in this game. But it's been a familiar spot all series long. JNAPS kept it going forward, and AJ keeps Optic alive. Oh, he went for that midfield boost. It was taken away, and then JNAPS scores. Oh, AJ went for boost over ball, it looked like.
Yeah, even AJ's frustrated at that one. Look at this, though. Atomic on a dime to JNAPS. JNAPS to the top left. How do you stop a team that can create a play like that off of a snap? G2 were ready for that.
A creative kickoff here from Optic, and boy, has that just blown up in their face, literally. AJ respawns at least right where the ball was headed, so he could get onto it quickly. Started out with a 2-goal lead, and since then it's been all downhill. Reynolds just boom it downfield. Desperation time now for Optic Gaming with everything going against them. JNAPS over Magic Bear, and he's got to bring this all the way back to the back wall where Reynolds can play to AJ. Took his time here, let it bounce first, and now Magic Bear, he's got to come through. It's back central, but nobody else is there. AJ couldn't get around on it, and back into the zone they go with less than 45.
Oh, Chicago could kill a lot of time on the clock. A good chance from AJ to get that out. JNAPS will play it off the back wall. No need to really put shots on. They're up by 2. They can just continue to play this off the back wall and kill so many of Optic's potential opportunities. Chicago played that off the sidewall to JNaps, 20 seconds remaining. And G2 saying that Fairy Tale is just that at this point. So dominant here in game 4.
Gotta get downfield quickly, and they're not going to. Down to the final 5 seconds. G2, the Fun Police have arrived. There will be no miracle comeback from Optic Gaming. G2 headed to the finals.
This G2 team, oh my goodness. We talked about this matchup. I mean, whoever's facing them in the finals has something to worry about, because the way they look going into today, I mean, they made quick work of Optic there, but FaZe, Complexity, whoever's playing them in that next round, they've really got to be on their game.
Andy, Drees, and Evo can celebrate now. Dignitas is going to the Winter Major. After having a shot at clinching it yesterday, they had to put their faith in everybody else in the field. And indeed, it is. Dignitas going to the Major. They'll be the number 5 seed as G2 takes down Optic Gaming. And now we wait to see who they'll face when they try to take down their first regional of the tournament. Will it be FaZe Clan? Will it be Complexity? We'll find out right after this.
You can save an average of 2 times more with our smart savings tools. For everything we want, we're all better off with an Ally.
Tries to send one to the back of the net, and he will triple touch. You said the double might work out. How about a triple?
Oh my! This time, fire! Try to clear this away. Landing on the foot of it. Picks up the steam. It's still there for Jim. They scored! Shaping up to be the game Carmine Court needed. Astral also coming off the ceiling. Oh! He's on a different plane! What was that? He's not real! I really like the adjustment from Nolly. Oh! Yeah, me too, Jeremy. I really like how Nolly's looking. 1-0 Gen G. He's looking real good after that.
I would love to see the stats from who has been picking up those pads a little bit more. We'll have to wait and find out, because Thad, he's got some ideas of his own. Composure from the great Canadian. And it's
Short and sweet, which is a good thing if you're a G2 fan or, of course, a player, as G2 finally gets their first opportunity to play in the first grand final of the season for them. And to talk about it, we got none other than JNaps. JNaps, welcome to the desk, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Cheese, how are you?
Excellent, thank you very much. So let's go ahead and start talking about that series a little bit. Some tight games versus Optic in general, but you guys held so much pressure. What do you guys focus on to keep such a firm grip on that offensive side of the ball?
I think like the thing that keeps it flowing is the clean rotations. I think kind of recently we've been struggling with like near post rotations and just like cutting each other off when we don't expect it. So I think just keeping the clean rotations, our spacing is like better. I think that really helps the rhythm.
Focus on fundamentals, always a great place to begin. Of course, looking into the grand finals, where do you guys feel you guys are at your strongest right now?
Where do we feel?
Yeah.
I'd say just like basically what I just said, like that
Sure.
spacing and the rotation is just keeping like the offense flowing, and on defense too, like it helps so much, which is like knowing who goes next. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
that's our strength right now.
Good thing to have, of course. And now you have to look ahead to San Diego. Obviously, you guys have already qualified. So this one headed for the seeding, and going into an event like San Diego, how do you prepare for an event that has so many different teams that you haven't seen for a while, or just from regions that you don't really look at too often?
I think the best practice is when we're like boot camping. Obviously, when we're scrimming at home, we can't scrim the international teams unless they're like traveling here. But I think like during the boot camp, we try to get as many teams as we can. If one team's like really beating us, like if a Middle East team like Falcons is beating us, then we'll go over like replay reviews. But
Certainly, all you really can do. But either way, we're looking forward to seeing you guys at San Diego and, of course, in your grand final versus FaZe or Complexity. So I'll let you go ahead, get ready for that. Thank you very much for your time, JNaps. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, it's I always find it interesting, Gibbs, to be able to hear when it seems like actually gives us information of this is what we're not doing well, and how we're trying to fix that. Because they often don't give us that insight.
Yeah, that's the biggest mistake. So they're going to lose grand finals. That's just but that's good to hear that that they know their issues, but it's not issues that are going to give anything away anyway. It's like, hey, we got to fix these like quick rotations. We want to actually cut each other off, but we just have to know when we're doing it, right? So if you figure that out, they'll keep up that offensive pressure, because that's what G2 does so well. They stay on the offensive side of the ball, which they did a ton throughout the series. Optic fought back a little bit in game 4, and then quickly G2's offense just came alive again, scoring 5 unanswered goals. So hats off to G2, hats off to Dignitas as well. They clinched their major spot. They also made history doing it, because in fall, they were ranked 12th and now made major. That is the lowest ranked team in NA in Europe history, outside of Team Liquid, because they had no points before that spring split. But they are the lowest ranked team from one split to the next to make it to the major. We had teams like Version 1 and Moist. They were 8th seed and 9th seed from fall to go to winter, but Dignitas was 12th seed, and now they moved all the way up to 5th. So hats off to them. True underdog story there. 2 brand new major players as well. So very excited to see what they can do there.
And Jorby, that's exciting. I mean, like obviously it sucks that for Dignitas, if we look at the bracket, you'll see they fell to a Complexity, in not a grand fashion, 4-0, but they still get that sweet moment now of being in the major. So it definitely wasn't in their own hands. They have to be sitting real happy right now.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. You're going to San Diego now. You get to compete for that money. You get major points. Other teams, all the ones sitting at home, they don't get any of that. And you get that international experience. Dignitas, it's incredible. Give what Gibbs was saying. 12th seed to make the major, the lowest, the lowest so far for that to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that we get to see Dignitas on land. Especially in a region where, we've talked a lot about the impact of teams who have imported to the region, and talked about how difficult it would be and for native teams, but it doesn't really seem to be really that much of a struggle. I mean, outside of Dignitas, you have M80 and even Knights starting to show a little bit more. So it's exciting to see Dignitas make the major to represent North America.
We got one more semifinal to get through, so let's start talking about that right now. Complexity is now phasing off against FaZe Clan. Gibbs, FaZe Clan has been looking red hot as of late, but Complexity, another team always in the top talks for that top in North America. So this is bound to be a fantastic matchup here, but both teams locked in, so there's not as high level of stress coming into this matchup.
But huge implications. Whoever wins this, if they win the entire regional, #1 seed for NA, they take it over. So they have to win the whole regional. Both teams know that. But these two teams have looked so strong this whole split. I got to credit my man Jorby, because at the beginning of this split, he's the only one who predicted Complexity to make the major, and he had them third as well. He had them very high, and we were all like, you're crazy. But Complexity has showed up this split. And they've looked.
Wait, I thought my takes were bad. Hang on.
Overall.
I don't know what.
Hey, I'm giving you a compliment.
I don't know what to do with
once, Jorby. Take it for once. No, but we got to talk about Complexity and their defense. #1 overall. They've been a top 3 defense in all 3 tournaments. They're looking so incredibly strong. FaZe, though, is doing the same thing, having a fantastic road on defense. We saw them play Gen G yesterday, and Gen G, but they didn't score for like 18 minutes. So FaZe's defense has looked fantastic as well. So I feel like it's going to be a low-scoring series, Jordan.
You see Roldiz? He's drinking out of his mug, and then he just nodded to himself. He was like, yeah, that's some good comp.
I think that team honestly looks really
they're ready.
He was so chill, bro. And
look at this. Yeah,
you gotta.
Okay, wake up. Wake up. You got a match to play.
Anyways, FaZe, I mean, I love this Complexity team. I did pick them to make the major at the beginning of winter, but I also had FaZe.
Tired.
And yeah, guys, wake up. Drink some coffee. Roldiz is the only guy not looking sleepy.
What is this match? Are they? I don't know. Is this like a subtle? Like, are they jabbing at each other? Like we're just.
I think CR's got dirt in his eye.
This is gonna be boring. We're sleeping. We don't even need to be awake for this. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I hope they're prepared. I'm assuming that they didn't just actually wake up for this matchup, but I think it does show how relaxed, in all honesty, both teams are right now. They're both just been chilling, vibing. They know either way it's going to be a fun matchup. They're locked in. As Gibbs said, it's still going to be important to make sure you continue to get a better seed just to make your time easier. But it looks like they're both having fun. Okay, I was going to ask this. We just talked about Jorby and Complexity saying they're going to go far, but you think this is the end of the run?
Dude, it's FaZe. Like, have you seen them lately? And their toughest competition, where Gen G almost reverse swept them last regional, they didn't take them more than 5 games this time. I'm not betting against First Killer. No way.
And they have coffee. So there you go.
They have coffee.
Chat's not. This is good. That indicates it's going to be a good match, and I think that's a good call, chat. The 60-40 split, we'll take it. We do have the matchup ready, so why don't we head over to the Skybox for the match with both teams already set for San Diego. They now fight for better position in the upcoming tournament. Let's find out if Complexity can shut down a red-hot FaZe clan down on the pitch.
FaZe in Complexity. Complexity, a team that failed to make the World Championship after moving regions, now are bound for San Diego, but they're taking on the regional reigning champs in FaZe. Corelli, what do you make of Complexity's chances?
I think they're pretty good here. I don't think FaZe will be able to do what they did against Gen G to Complexity. Now, this matchup has happened once before in the fall. It was FaZe who came out on top in 4 games, but Complexity, they've been a different beast this split. I think this one, James, might have the makings of 7.
We will see, because FaZe has looked like a different team. Gen G were looking unstoppable, making every finals, but that streak ended because of how well FaZe was playing. We'll see if they can continue that level of play here. Mist will get bombed, but he still makes it back to the play. Mist making the stop.
He's been incredible defensively for FaZe, and it's been their biggest weakness, the biggest criticism of FaZe. Now one of their strengths here, as we saw against Gen G. They were rock solid. The Test mentioned it. They held Gen G for like over 17 minutes of no score. That's a feat that no one can say they've done. And for FaZe to do it is a little unprecedented with the way their defense has been, with the narrative around it.
Well, you have Sipical, who moved back, had so much success on Space Station playing as that 3rd man, and then missed one of the most prolific defenders that RLCS has seen. And then also First Killer is not as talked about as much as his offense, but defensively, he is a very difficult player to beat. He reads almost everything, and his mechanics allow him to save almost everything as well.
And the difference is, First Killer, I think, trusts this team more than he's trusted any other team to get the job done defensively. And that's why you're not seeing as many double commits. You're not seeing them be so scared to move up. Sure, they still give a little bit of space, but it's working for FaZe. There's not a lot of criticisms to be had with the way they've been shaped up defensively. And the offense as well, James, when you talk about all the skill and individual prowess on this team, you know how good they are. And it just took that little bit of cohesion to make them burst into the scene and now have that win and trying to go back-to-back here.
Ooh. Now the cohesion being tested. Mist swoops in with a demo on AJG as FaZe has been playing goal line defense. Complexity's attack still coming strong. There's a backward pass from Razebull. The shot blocked by Mist. Rebound chances for Complexity, but now a counterattack opportunity. That'll be easily saved. Finally, FaZe break out.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about FaZe, but boy, Complexity, they've been piling on the pressure. 7 shots so far. They forced 6 saves out of FaZe, and FaZe now firing off a couple shots towards Complexity, but easy saves. As that defense from FaZe has been tested. Now the offense trying to wrap up, but it's Complexity to clear it away.
Mist now trying to take that first touch. AJG getting demoed. Smoke screen. Razebull was able to still stay on the play. Complexity forced to play a bit of defense now. AJG, not much boost, will boom it upfield. Mist to the middle. First Killer up. He beat Razebull to the ball. CRR with a nice read off the backward, but still FaZe are looking to attack. There's another demo. Mist starting to take heads on Complexity.
Yeah, demo there. And now an outlet pass to Typical. Great defense here from AJG. Just to mark that man on the wall. You don't want to give the outlet for free to FaZe. Their counterattack has been very strong at just generating chances. You saw that against Gen G. Now Typical, unfortunately, giving away to AJG. That's a great cut by FaZe. Razebull gets beat to the ball, but FaZe hasn't pushed up all the way quite yet. An easy clear for AJG.
That was well done by Mist, making back-to-back players miss from Complexity. Now Typical in the air, doesn't have much boost. We'll leave it for Mist. Bit of mixed misdirection that we have seen FaZe incorporate more and more into their game.
I think Typical wanted to give that one to First Killer, and Typical will make up for it on the back wall. But you can see a couple chances from the offense have really been built through Typical. Bringing that ball down, letting Mist take it. It came back to Typical. He tried to dish it up to First Killer, setting up his teammates for success. Hasn't panned out quite yet, but you can see him being a maestro there for FaZe.
Typical, former MVP. Such a great player. So versatile as well, but this one slips through. We have to take another look at where Mist was coming from on this one. Looks like United tried to do a squishy save and Mist read the angle.
Yeah, a little awkward there for Mist as such a smart spot to pick there for Razebull as well. Give him credit. That's 9 shots now for Complexity, and one finally breaks through that FaZe clan defense. It was an awkward touch from First Killer. That's really what put FaZe into the danger zone. And with a minute to go, Complexity with a 1-goal lead.
Their demo. Is this net open?
Oh, it's open.
Yes, it is! The demo left it wide open, Corelli.
It was First Killer hunting HAG, and look at the space. It's all of FaZe staring at an open net, and CRR is trying to get back. But the last man in Complexity, that was it for the defense.
Goodness. Poor AJG, how many times has he been demoed this game? I feel like pretty much every time we've seen somebody get demoed, it's been him.
Physical game was super important for FaZe against Gen G, just ruining their rhythm, taking players out of the space that FaZe wanted to take. And it pays off here to find the equalizer.
Razebull, and now we see some revenge. CRR taking out Mist. Razebull, pass, going for the bump, but First Killer dodged it and got the touch. Mist, first touch control. Razebull hops on it. Excellent speed, now going for another challenge, but that one doesn't hit. AJG, lob toward net, easily saved by Typical, but rebound comes out to CRR. Now double commit from FaZe, full boost for Razebull. Goes for a flip reset, trying to control it. Will fake the hit, leaves it for AJG. Complexity starting to show some different looks. Razebull, the pass off the back. FaZe in a tough spot. CRR will get dunked on, and FaZe thankful that this one made it to overtime.
I mean, this entire game has realistically been played in the FaZe half, maybe even inside the FaZe box. It's just been a couple of mistakes now. Huge mistake for Razebull. First Killer tried to take on CRR. A shot turned away by Razebull as everyone gets back for Complexity. Scary start to this overtime. And Complexity are lucky FaZe didn't break through.
And to getting a bit grimy in that corner as well. You can see the close range challenges. Now a bump from First Killer. Rebound out to Miss. And
Wow.
Miss finishes the job on the goal line. It was a scrappy goal from FaZe that caused them to win this.
It was a scrappy game defensively for FaZe as well. 9 saves from FaZe, and that was enough to keep them in it. They held Complexity to just a single goal after all of the shots that they had. My goodness, FaZe grind out a win here in game 1.
They really did. I mean, and they were, it looked like they got beat up themselves on defense, Corelli. You said almost the whole game in the box, but look at the points Mist is throwing up. Thanks to the 5 saves and 2 goals. Mist was everywhere on the field. I mean, he was getting demos. He was scoring the cleanup goals. The physicality from FaZe put him over the top in this one.
And it was the difference maker against Gen G as well. So same game plan coming out here from FaZe. I think this game 1, though, they played a little bit more defense than they would have liked, James. I think they were a little uncomfortable, a little more dicey than they would have been, than they would rather have. But at the end of the day, they got the job done here. They took advantage of the opportunity given to them, which is the most important thing, because Complexity didn't give them a lot of chances, but FaZe were able to convert.
I was impressed by a lot of the possession from Complexity, and you saw Razebull. He has been fantastic this weekend with just his creativity on the attack and also speed. He takes the space, he forces players off the ball, and sometimes he'll do things you don't expect, like the one leave that he had there that gave an interesting opportunity to Complexity. So we're seeing Complexity hang with FaZe. In fact, offensively having more chances, but we'll see if they're going to get the best of this FaZe defense, because FaZe so far have had answers and also have been able to grind out those goals, Crow.
And this will be the biggest, difference maker here in this game, is how much more can Complexity convert, because it wasn't for a lack of opportunity that they lost this game. They had plenty, and some of it you can give credit to FaZe's defense. Other times, a lot of weak shots maybe came out for Complexity, half chances that were cut out of the way. So Complexity have no problem holding FaZe back. It's how do you convert on the chances you're creating?
I think one thing they'll have to adjust is how many times AJG gets demoed, to keep an eye out for Mist especially. AJG trying to pop that up. Mist up early. First Killer also so fast. CRR did get a tip. Razebull retreating back. AJG gets a hit towards net. Mist trying to keep it close. Dodges the ball, but
what?
How does that not go in? Typical out of nowhere getting that save.
What was that? How did Typical get back in time? Mist gave up the ball. It was a free shot. And somehow, Typical makes the save, and now he's going all the way across the field in an air dribble.
Oh, and how plays like that must give you trust in your team. When a Mist is trying to dodge the bump to make the play, trying to touch it down, he gets out of position, and Typical bails him out. I didn't even see him until that shot came in.
He was a lightning.
It was like a lightning strike, Corelli.
It was. It just came out of nowhere, struck down the shot, and then took off.
And now a chance for some offense. AJG trying to get the pass over to Razebull. Low boost for Raze as it tips down the side wall. Typical lobbing it into the middle. Missed. Super speedy first up as well, and AJG gets in that way, and it was defended nicely. We've got full field action now. Little touch from CRR. Couldn't get the bump on Mist. Now Typical. Pass. Off the corner. Comes out to Mist, who puts it to the backboard. First Killer far out of the play. This is possession back to Complexity until First Killer tipped that in. And now a hit over it. Razebull getting a double.
Oh, he gave it back. And he almost pushed through there. First Killer able to get back in time. But Complexity, I think FaZe have figured out their offense a little bit more. Complexity, they're giving the ball up more and more. FaZe have had more and more chances down in the final third now, just spending more time down there, pushing Complexity all the way back. FaZe have found the outlet. Here's a great pass to Mist. The shot was directly at Razebull. First Killer tried to set up Typical, but it's too weak, and CRR does well to break up the play for FaZe.
It seemed like a rare miss there from Mist. Mist had a lot of time. Could have got power and placement on that shot. Wasn't really able to get either, and also doesn't connect there, but might have ran out of boost on the play. Good speed at the midfield from First Killer. Mist trying to keep the pressure on. Low boost for First. Literally has nothing. Pops it up for Mist, who can't get there. Complexity still scrambling, trying to get this out. Typical with control. Pops it up high. AJG on the backboard. Razebull jumps early. Gets the tip. The threat of the flip reset from Typical still has Complexity reeling. First killer off the ceiling now. Jump too far, leaves it for Mist.
And now we're really seeing what this Complexity defense is made of. The first time we're seeing an extended attack from FaZe, and they're doing a good job of turning away. Sometimes it isn't perfect. It's not the prettiest defense, but they get the job done. Neither has FaZe, by the way. As Typical places one directly towards RazeBull, and first killer on the goal line. Has to make the save, but Complexity still want to press as it's denied by Typical. Did he get over his head? He got it! How did that happen?
Oh, CRR, he inched up on the play, was expecting RazeBull to at least get a piece of it, and Typical dunked it right past CRR. He was caught in no man's land in disbelief.
Wow.
Too much trust placed in RazeBull on that one. That was crazy.
And he had just turned up the field as well, so he just got his positioning, and that ball through the tackle goes right over his head. It's so tough to react there. But mispositioning, I mean, yeah.
After how close this game has been on both sides, the defensive stops, to let one in like that, that's got to sting.
For how good Complexity, I think, have played, even through game one, even though they lost. They had a great game in game one. Lost on a couple counterattacks, and now a scrappy overtime. Here's a shot, everyone from FaZe diving at that one, and they make the play, and all get back into position. So if it works, it works. Maybe ill-advised, but they make the save. Still Complexity testing the waters high above the net. You can see them holding this midfield line, trying to clamp down on FaZe, but FaZe has been unrelenting. Here's a pass over the Mist to try and clear it out.
And you saw first killer, the back pass in front of his own net. The short ranger, you don't see that too often, but there's that trust rearing its head again, and it was the right play. It allowed FaZe to get the clear out. Final seconds, last opportunity for Complexity to tie it up. There's a demo from RazeBull, Mist. Trying to kill it in the corner. CRR gets beat on the challenge. It touches the ground, and FaZe win back-to-back games in the series, now up 2-0, Corelli. Yeah. Is it getting too far out of reach for Complexity? Oh, it's been a bit heartbreaking, this game in particular.
It's been heartbreaking, but it's not out of reach. 2 one-goal games. One of them was an overtime, and I think for Complexity as well in game one, and here in this game as well, though it wasn't as strong. They were generating that offense still. It's just that stingy defense of FaZe Clan. Again, 9 saves coming out from them to turn away the 9 shots of Complexity. That kind of paints a picture of what exactly happened. And for Complexity, you got to stay the course. They're not playing poorly here, James. This has not been a bad series from them. There's been some mistakes, as you're seeing here in the Mobile One high-performance replay. There's been mistakes. At the same
time, there was that shot from Mist where he had almost the whole net to shoot on, and he shot it right at the goalie. And for CRR, you know, is it a mistake to put trust in RazeBull there, or should RazeBull get a piece of it? It's just one of those plays where, you know, you're trying to cheat ahead. You're trying to take the optimistic route on the ball and on the play, and it just burns CRR.
I don't think you hedge. I mean, every player's trying to hedge for the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. I think CRR was not hedging for the absolute worst case scenario of the ball being basically pinched over neck, the top of the head.
You know, you stay between the ball and your
directly
between your posts.
And so, unlucky and crept up too far there in that play. And for FaZe, they come out on top. Now they hold a 2-game lead here in this series. Complexity, though, it's only been 1-goal games. They have not just been blown out of the water here. And I would say in game one, they certainly played better than FaZe.
They've had many chances, but now they find themselves trailing 2 games. And if you're playing better than FaZe and still losing, that might be a bad sign. Typical. Double tap off his own backboard. First killer with the touch. Seems like FaZe at every ball, every challenge. Complexity trying desperately to figure out this FaZe defense. And now the FaZe offense also giving them a headache here. Mist with a tip. Will stay on the ball. Goes for a bump, but CRR able to navigate around it. Low boost for AJG. We'll get a touch here, but can't really get the one he was looking for because of 0 boost.
And again, I'll say that the same exact thing I said in the beginning of game 2. You got to look towards Complexity to convert their chances. That's been the difference maker here. FaZe have certainly gained a bit of ground on Complexity when it comes to their offense. Here, this one's popping up towards the top of the box, and Mist dives in. Everyone pushed up for FaZe, and they're holding onto the ball. Here comes first killer. Mist getting demos as well on the rotation out.
Hey, Corelli, that's what I was going to say, too. Did you see how tight FaZe's rotation was? They were all there.
And they felt like they could do it, and they made it work. They kept possession. They had another chance on target, and they got a demo during all that, so it was never scary for FaZe, despite how far they were pushed up.
AJG looked like he got bumped, but still powered through and now gets it by another little wave dash. Perhaps a pinch. No, lays it off. Lets CRR take it. Goes for the bump.
Wow.
It was a nice idea, but the execution just a bit lacking.
Another demo there. First killer, and now AJG on Typical. CRR side flips. Follow for miss. Look how fast FaZe are moving here to force this one down the field. CRR using all of his boost, stretching out, and with 0 boost on the backboard. It's up for him, and it's another FaZe player in his face. FaZe have really figured out their offense, but can they convert here? They've been threatening, but only 2 shots out of all this offense so far.
It's kind of like the script, but flipped from game 1, where Complexity was forced FaZe all the way back. Now a shot beats out AJG. I thought AJG was in position to handle this.
I want to see it from AJG's POV, because he sees the whole play develop. He's got ball cam on. He sees everything happen, the missed touch over to first killer, but he just can't keep up with the pace, with the ball, with how that ball was hit. And oh my.
Pace, it was 84 miles an hour. 84. AJG thought he had the angle covered, Corella.
Can't blame him, but when it's first killer shooting, anything can happen.
And he threw a fastball.
And now that's another time, James, where Complexity trying to hedge against worst case scenario, and it happens again. Worst case scenario, perfect pass from Mist and a bullet to the back of your net.
Yeah, well, there's the worst case scenario, then the first case scenario. One of them is survivable. Typical. Tapping that over to first. Missed. Popping it up. CRR looking for Razebull. AJG upfield. Waiting for Razebull to get this into the middle. Here it comes. Off the backboard. Double tap. Can't
Everyone
get it.
missed.
And there we have it. Complexity tying it up. Finally breaking through this FaZe defense.
Everyone missed the touch, including Mist, as he tried to get off the backboard read and CRR. Beautiful to drop it down, and finally Complexity are able to break through here. It's been a drought for scoring on the Complexity side, and a missed touch there, just not getting a touch from FaZe. Opens it up, back to a tie game, but maybe not for long. Here comes Mist. It's saved by CRR on the goal line, and we stay knotted.
CRR is having a heck of a game, getting that goal and also that save. CRR has undoubtedly made Complexity much, much better, and that was an impact play there. Boy, CRR, another dunk at midfield. CRR doing work.
Good goal. Didn't get the touch back down to Mist. They were trying to set him up. And everyone from FaZe here to back off. Complexity have not shown the same offense that they did the previous 2 games. This one's easily turned away from Mist. He's got no boost here, looking for options, and he lets first killer come through. Complexity trying to set up their offense again. AJG can't get by Typical, and all of FaZe hitting each other now. First killer comes barreling through Typical, and this shot off the crossbar. It's a mess in the block, and it still doesn't go in for Complexity.
Wow, that is one of those plays where you just can't believe it didn't go in. That ball was almost all the way past the goal line and still gets cleared out. FaZe live to fight another day, but they're living on low boost. CRR will stay on top. If it gets a flip reset, low missed, we'll clear it out. The flip reset didn't get elevated. Now Razebull to CRR. CRR goes right for net. He had Razebull and AJG both hunting in the middle. And now there's a demo from first. He's hunting for another bump. Gets the corner boost. Bumps AJG off spawn. 0 boost for CRR. This is a good chance for FaZe. AJG bumped again. FaZe trying to win it in regulation. Typical. Dribbling it up the wall. Gets rule 1 for a moment. Slowed down. Complexity happy to take this to overtime. That was a scary last few seconds.
And you got to give credit to Complexity fighting in that corner and keeping it in the corner there. As the kickoff will go FaZe's way. First killer trying to end it quickly. Typical pressing, gets demoed, but Mist can't see the ball. He picks it up through the smoke screen and tries to fake it through CRR, just trying to keep it here. Now the touch backwards. Typical diving as that one was wide of the net in the end.
CRR missed.
Wild start here as Typical's pass cut out.
First killer, it looked like he stole that corner boost, gets underneath the ball, going for the dunk as well. This could be good for FaZe. What? A rebound out, it's over. Typical, he gets a tip straight up. First killer now, going for the double tap to win it. It's FaZe. CRR got a tip on the ball.
How on earth are they making these saves? Typical with no boost. Trying to set up first killer, but CRR was going to beat him every single time. Missed. Wants to keep it going. First killer there. A drive directly towards Raceball. Pass to miss. Shot on target. CRR again, but not a second time. First killer puts FaZe up by 3.
The FaZe amped it up to 11. Shot after shot after shot. Missed again. Put it right at the goalkeeper. But the rebound bounced right out to first killer, and first killer was not going to miss that opportunity. Complexity, they were on their heels at the end of that game. You thought they might be able to pull it out, but FaZe pull ahead once more. And all these games have been close, Corelli.
Yeah.
But FaZe just continue to find a way to win.
1 goal game after 1 goal game. Complexity going to take a timeout here. It is 3-0 in the series, James. I said at the beginning that this one could be 7, James. It is not looking like 7 at the moment. FaZe, despite close score lines, they're taking care of business.
They really are. And you saw from the scoreboard just a moment ago, 4 demos from first killer. FaZe, they are working demos into their game quite nicely, and I feel like it really has slowed Complexity down a bit. They're also forcing Complexity so far back on their back line. There was one play where first killer got a demo. He goes up, steals the corner boost, and then bumped AJG right off spawn. He might have been going for the insta demo off respawn. And that kind of play, it slows you down so much because not only are you scrambling in an awkward defensive position where you're out of rotation, but you're also hurting on boost. And all that time, there's no chance you're going to score. You're just hoping you don't get scored on.
Just looking at some of the cameras here, James, and it looks similar to the pregame. People stretching out. They're, wiping their eyes.
It doesn't look like there's any windows in there, Corelli. and plus, a gamer hours is a very real phenomenon.
Very real phenomenon, but, you got to show up here today. And right now, while it's been close, again, we've seen it in the Mobile One High Performance replay a few times now. In some of these goals, that was the Fiesta shot. I mean, it was just crazy in the box there from FaZe. And CRR coming up with a huge save again, but just not enough. And again, you got to give some credit over to FaZe. This offense looks even more lethal than I think the FaZe offenses that we've seen from before. They look so much more cohesive. It seems to be more intact. Like they trust each other more, and it feels like they have a lot more control over themselves. It's not these wild solo plays that you're trying to go 1v3 every single time. They're using each other. They're communicating, James. I think that's been the big thing. They're talking to each other, and they know where they're at. Those extra passes that we're seeing across the box, we didn't see that from FaZe before.
Which box are you talking about? Are you talking about their own box or the one on offense? Because we've seen it on both sides of the field. It really does feel like this is a new chapter in this FaZe story, one where they really have that trust, and it's been on display, and it really has made FaZe so unpredictable, so difficult to beat. And they're looking like the best in NA. And Corelli, I mean, we had the pre-show where you said FaZe was the best in the world. You said it was a lie. Do you care to maybe reconsider the position?
What, FaZe beating Complexity makes it the best in the world? Is that what you're
No,
what
I'm
you're
saying with the way FaZe is playing, do you think they might be the best team in the world?
I think you could formulate an argument right now for sure. I don't know if I'm going to make that argument quite yet, but I'd love to see the major result from FaZe at the moment. But they have to get through Complexity first here and into Game 4, try to finish out this semifinal.
And as much as it hurts my heart to say it, missed. Well, I was going to say Complexity reverse swept NRG earlier in the event. Maybe Complexity could do it again, but this is not a great start. Mist, who's been going for demos, gets a bump on Razebull to secure this first goal for FaZe.
Smiles there on the player. Cans Mist looking over. He might have been watching his own replay in the stream. I don't know what he's doing there, but he's looking at himself. He knows that was a great play, and what a way to start things off right after a timeout as well. You take it to the back of the net, you take it to the house right off the kickoff.
And with how close the games have been for Mist to score that quickly, in a situation where FaZe is already up, well, we see a double demo from AJG, opening up space for Razebull. Razebull, though, will tip it towards net, rebound out to CRR, low shot, easily saved by Mist.
And the double demo only helped FaZe as they pack the net off of spawn. First killer.
I mean, that is a very real strategy sometimes, Corelli. If you're out of boost, spawn.
Get demoed?
Yeah, get demoed, spawn with a third of your tank back on defense.
And first instincts there, especially on a double demo, is to protect the net. You saw that immediately. Everyone moved towards the center of the field. Complexity, you just can't it's such a small window that you have for that power play. It's tough to capitalize on, even with the double demo. And Complexity still trying to threaten here, trying to get that offense going that we saw in the beginning of the series, but it's FaZe who just really picked it up on defense, finding the outlet or just the easy clear to relieve that pressure.
There's a high pass up. CRR read it so fast. But first killer protecting the net. Make sure that one didn't go in. Now Typical up. No challenge. Missed up. The 50 from AJG right off the ceiling. Razebull will lob one back. First killer. First touch will control it off the backboard into a low 50 from Raze. CRR gets it around him. Goes for net. Can't bump Typical off the play. Now AJG with a tip up. But missed. Will boom it out once more. Now a demo on Razebull. However, FaZe still trying to break out of their half. They finally do, but it's right to CRR, who lobs it up high for Razebull. Razebull towards net. Another easy save for FaZe.
Still looking for that offense from Complexity. FaZe, I mean, they're happy to sit on this 1-goal lead. It has been enough for 3 games in a row to beat Complexity with 1 goal. Oh, 2 almost coming. Typical, it's too high on the shot. He had the opportunity to double their score. And now CRR wants to play it out slow, but he's slowed down. Typical. Maybe some space here. A little extra boost. Another touch would do it, and Razebull denies.
Yeah, well done by Razebull. He knew exactly what Typical was trying to do, get that bump on him to leave that pass open. What a first touch from Typical. Go again, going for the bump. Gets bumped back into the ball. Razebull on empty. And missed with a backflip flick. Or backflip challenge, rather, forcing that downfield. Missed defensively, has been rock solid. Shooting-wise, though, he has not been able to beat Complexity. Now Typical trying to get that ball out to the middle. First killer finds himself last back once more. We'll hit that out to the corner. First killer low 50. CRR pick up full boost, but that first touch got away from him. AJG back to CRR, who backflips and can't get there as well. Used up all his boost and now is out of position.
Oh my goodness.
First killer with a dunk. AJG has to buy time. And there's more time bought with that demo from Razebull.
Whoa, FaZe picking up here. AJG wanted to take it to the house again, but it was missed to deny him. And another monster clear from FaZe. They just boom it over the first man, and there's so much space behind him. And FaZe have chewed up a lot of the clock. There's a demo for CRR. Razebull 1v1 against Mist. Mist gotta come up huge. Doesn't get the punch, but the shot was high, or wide, excuse me, as it rolls up high. AJG trying to force it. Razebull again wants a piece of the FaZe defense. Flip reset. Over 1. Mist makes the save. AJG, the shot was too high there. CRR denied, but it'll go through in the end. And Complexity grind out their first.
This is another scrappy goal. It wasn't even Complexity that put it in. It was Typical, who was trying to challenge, ended up knocking that into his own net. It was like a pinball machine, Corell. Bouncing off everything, finally going into the net.
It's a fiesta in the FaZe box. And Complexity, they're making it work. Another pass to AJG off the post.
Oh my. It looked like they beat FaZe again, but Complexity couldn't find the shot from AJG. Now FaZe finally spending some time in Complexity's half. He's really kicked it into the next gear. Complexity's tournament life is on the line here, but an overcommit and a wide open net for first killer.
And how does this happen for Complexity? A couple times now, one man gets beat, and CRR crept up too far again.
It was almost the exact same situation where CRR is thinking Razebull is at least going to get a piece of the ball. And Razebull did not get a piece of that ball. And he was caught out again.
He's caught out again. He was the last man, and then he got caught in no man's land. Couldn't make the challenge. Knew that he'd be beat, so he tried to turn around. It was just too late. First killer, quick to this one. Oh no, double tap. Hammer coming through, but it's Razebull to deny the dagger for now. Huge save from Razebull. 20 seconds left. Last gasp of air, but it comes out the first killer. Past the mist, and it's denied by CRR.
And CRR finished that play with 0 boost. That at least keeps some hope alive for Complexity. Infield pass to Razebull. Razebull shot blocked. First killer gonna try to waste this time. CRR pre-jumping. First killer off the ceiling, down to the ground. He spears it just like FaZe spear Complexity. It's a sweep. FaZe are going back to the grand finals.
Back-to-back appearances, and you can see that smile on Roll This. They know what they're doing. This team has never looked better, James. Never. There has never been a version of FaZe that has looked this clean, this consistent, and winning against this high quality of teams consistently. This is a world beater right now from FaZe, and they get to face G2 in the final.
I have to agree, Pirelli. I think when it comes to the rankings of the power rankings of North America right now, you'd have Gen G at the top, you have FaZe, Complexity, all there, and now G2. FaZe might beat everybody. They took down Gen G in the quarters. They just took down Complexity in a sweep. They've only dropped one game, Pirelli. It is so true. FaZe really have never looked better. They won the last regional event, and it looks like they might repeat. Can FaZe win it all? We'll find out after the break.
Tries to send one to the back of the net, and he will triple touch. You said the double might work out. How about a triple?
Oh my! This time, fire right clear this away. Landing on with the man. Picks up the steam. It's still there for Jimmy. He scored. Shaping up to be the game Carmi Court needed. Astral also coming off the ceiling. Oh! He's on a different plane! What was that? He's not real! I really like the adjustment from Nolly. Oh! Yeah, me too, Jordy. I really like how Nolly's looking. 1-0 Gen G. He's looking real good after that.
I would love to see the stats from who has been picking up those pads a little bit more. We'll have to wait and find out, because Thad, he's got some ideas of his own. Composure from the great Canadian. And it's
None of this seems right. What am
FaZe Clan was not ready to give up the hot streak they were on, plowing through Complexity 4-0 as they make their way into the grand finals. This team is looking good, and Complexity will have to end their day, sit back and relax, and maybe just watch the grand finals from the sidelines. I'm Leaf. Welcome back to the Rocket League Championship Series. Gibbs and Dazarin joining me on the desk here. Dazarin, FaZe Clan ain't stopping.
No, they're not. They're continuing their form, and they look like so solid in this series here against Complexity. I was actually very impressed with the way that they were able to honestly perform. Miss was one of those players who stepped up, made a lot of clutch plays offensively and defensively, and they are straight through to the grand finals. It was really, I mean, it was a short day. It's been a short day so far.
Absolutely, but defense first. We have Complexity shooting 7% throughout that series. FaZe is doing it on the defensive side of the field. Hats off to them. A bunch of 2-1 victories throughout that. But FaZe, man, oh boy, when they played earlier quarterfinals versus, a Gen G squad, Daz, they won 2-1, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And now versus Complexity, they won 2-1, 1-0, 2-1, 2-1. Normally, it's FaZe's offense. One of those games, they'll put up 5. But right now, it's all about their defense and just scoring on the few opportunities that they are given. It's a new look for FaZe, but it's looking very, very good.
Well, grand finals are coming up soon, but before that, it is now time for our Ally Assist of the Week. And today, we're handing it over to Evo, Gibbs.
Oh, absolutely. Like Evo on Dignitas, a major team, by the way, coming out with a fantastic assist, goes cross field, goes for the flip, reset, and the touchdown to Drees. And Drees doesn't have to do much work, and that's what it's all about. When you get a great pass, the shooter doesn't have to do anything. But the flip reset to read that bounce and then flip back and pass it back to Drees is the reason why it is the Ally Assist of the Week.
And just like you rely on your allies in Rocket League, Ally is proud to be a relentless supporter for your financial well-being, because we're all better off with an ally, digitally, personally, and financially. Ally, do it right. And I also want to shout out Ally, working with Radiant to present the Ally Women's Open, $40,000 tournament gives. This is pretty hype.
Oh yeah, Radiant, I worked with them about exactly a year ago where we did a women's tournament as well, and that was so much fun and it was a great experience, and now we can do it all again. March 25th is the open qualifiers for $40,000. That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. Big shout outs to obviously Radiant and Ally for being able to support the women's Rocket League scene. And I can't wait to see, because there's so many competitors in women's Carball, women's Rocket League. It's going to be a treat to see them all compete out.
Yeah.
Again, just shout out $40,000 March 25th to 26th. You want to hit it up. It's going to be exciting. But we got a grand finals we got to start talking about here. Our last day here on the Invitational for North America. Looking at the bracket, Dazzy, FaZe Clan, G2 making their way all the way down to the end. Both teams coming off a 4-0, so they got to be feeling a little bit good coming into this.
Yeah, G2, I casted that one earlier with Stack, looks absolutely phenomenal. They were clinical on the offensive front. G2's also been playing spoiler to everybody who's trying to make the major here with the takedown of version 1, and of course, taking down Optic Gaming in a sweet fashion. This team has looked like just strong contenders to take this event, but so is FaZe on the other side.
Yeah, well, let's start talking about it, because the grand finals is coming up with G2 Esports and FaZe Clan facing off on the pitch. As Gibbs, I personally feel like FaZe Clan might be coming into this with a little more gusto. And G2, though, saying that we heard it from them themselves, that they know where some of their flaws are. They know how to handle them coming into this. So that's their focus here.
Yeah, it's one of those arguments, like we talk about the quality of opponents, basically, like of this playoff bracket. And yes, FaZe is much harder, but that's because they already lost to Optic back in groups, which, we just saw G2 take them down very, very easily. So it's anyone's toss up here, but there's a lot of implications on the line. Number 1 seed up for grabs. If FaZe wins this regional, G2, the highest that they can get is the 2 seed. But whoever loses this will be the 3 seed. So that is what they are all playing for here right now. And of course, for $10,000 extra and a lot more points in general. So that's what they want to do. But FaZe Clan, they look so strong, but G2 as well. Both teams coming off a 4-0 sweep. It's a very, very easy day. But now we want to see Champions Field, Tess.
Yeah, we do. This one I think we all see both teams have been playing up to a very high standard, very high level, one that we all know that they can compete at. The question is, when they go head to head, what comes out of it? G2, we've seen them really hold on to the defensive line. I interviewed Rolders yesterday saying the same thing about FaZe Clan.
Yeah.
Their offense and the counterattacks from both teams is very, very deadly, but it really will come down to how strong that initial offense is. JNaps has been shooting very well today as well, and especially in the Optic series. Can he do that against a strong defensive FaZe Clan?
Chat, you know what to do right now. Hashtags in the chat. G2 or FaZe, who's going to take it? Again, I feel like personally, I'm leaning to one side or over the other. Well, actually, pretty heavily in this one. I'm just curious if the fans will get behind G2. That's the opposite of what I think's going to take this. But Daz, I got a question for you. Are you siding with T-Bates or Roldiz on this one?
Look, man, this was tough. Okay, that's all I gotta say. This one was a rough one. I went FaZe initially.
Okay. Oh, he's going.
But I'm going with T-Base. I mean, either at the end of the day, I don't think I'm gonna be happy no matter what. But so I decided to go just kind of matchup specific. I do think G2 is looking like so good, so strong in form. Like all of them are just playing up to another level. FaZe is as well, but I don't think that they're really ready for the G2 we're going to see out here. It's only time will tell, but yeah, I'm going to go G2 with this one.
G2, okay. Yeah, again, Gibbs, I feel like you're on the same side as me. You feel like FaZe is probably rolling in with a bit more mustard on the hot dog coming in here. I don't know what I was going.
Yeah, sure. Some good out Hey, FaZe had one hurdle, and that was 2 rounds ago. Quarterfinals, that was that one hurdle that they had to get over. But besides, a squad that we won't name, FaZe is the number 2 team in NA, which now could be the number 1 seed overall, and they want that desperately.
Yeah, I need that Gen G number 1 seed, so go ahead, go G2. Thanks, chat.
Hey, I like this. A close match, and that's exactly what we're hoping is going to happen here as we head down to the pitch for our grand finals. Jordan and Chiefs are there to present in our last match before the Winter Major has arrived, and G2 and FaZe Clan are the representatives. FaZe drives for first seed, while G2 second. Sit back and enjoy the final show of the Winter Invitational.
The final show, and boy, I think we're in for quite the show. Achieves G2 versus FaZe about to begin. Mist and company over on FaZe's side looking excellent, but so are G2. Both teams sweeping out their opposition in semis.
Yes, excellent showings from both teams. Of course, leave it up to whoever you decide, whatever your opinion happens to be about the strength of schedule or what have you. You can't take away that both teams looked pretty convincing in their semifinal matchups. Real question, as CJ has alluded so many times before, a lot of it comes down to moments when you get into these one and done type of brackets. First killer steals the ball, scores for free. Not a great start of your G2 fan.
For sure, but the demo right in midfield missed, taking out what would have been still maybe unlikely first killer, getting the goal. Either way, FaZe get the result they're looking for to start out. Why not first killer to score first? I mean, he's had an absolutely incredible season so far. If you break out his stats for his season totals, he's first in score per game, second in goals per game, first in assists per game. He's literally not below third in any statistical category on the season. Man is absolutely ridiculous, but his teammates have been playing excellently this weekend as well. Just missing that shot, and FaZe continue to push on the blue half.
Certainly sets the bar, to be sure, as typical. Soft shot, actually seeing if he can deflect any of those G2 members, but obviously in that interview with JNaps talking about how they're really focusing on those near-post rotations and being in good communication with each other to make sure they don't get in each other's way. Fend off a FaZe push, maybe find something to work with here, but not a pace on some of these touches. Very tough to control, and it will still work out. JNaps able to slot one under 2 defenders from FaZe, jumping in the corner.
Now, Atomic is he's just been playing so well today. How many times did he do that in their semifinal? Just creating great reads for his teammates. That's a great flip reset. Giving JNaps the chance to go underneath. And G2, felt like earlier in the tournament, they didn't look as strong. Definitely had a couple of things where you're kind of like, okay, G2 not exactly firing on all cylinders, but ever since today has started, they woke up and playing with something fierce. Chicago literally joined the lobby with his name tag in parentheses. I'm him. So that should tell you how Chicago's and G2 are feeling right now.
A good mental spot, that's for sure. Nothing wrong with a little bit of levity. Is kind of remember at the end of the day, it's still a game. You still got to have fun. And G2 certainly coming back, finding a nice way to battle back at themselves right back in this grand final. Whoa. See if that G2 defense can keep FaZe out. Long clear, posting in, tough break.
Yeah, first killer was just so fast up to this pass. He's already boosting downfield before Sypical even makes contact. And JNAV's not a bad spot to sit. First killer just makes the read early. He's the faster player there.
Unfortunate bounce. I mean, you really got right up in first killer's face. He had the hand up to be sure. It's one of those unfortunate bounces. Post doesn't do you a favor. Yesterday we had everything going off the post and the crossbar.
Oh.
Today it might just all go straight in. What is this shot from first killer? Talk about cutting one down.
Oh my God, he sliced that with pinpoint precision. Look at that, gets above the ball, times his dodge perfectly, and I mean, that was about as straight as an angle as you're going to get towards the net.
Great shooting from first killer, and definitely starting to put some distance between G2 and themselves. A lot of time left on the clock. Let's see if you keep just relying on first killer to get it all done here. He's already got a hat trick. We haven't even hit halftime in game one.
I feel like I'm still warming up to the series. First killer's already hot. Let's see if G2 can start to warm up their engines. They keep trying to connect with each other on those passes, but haven't gotten by FaZe yet with them. Atomic, he had that flip reset pass to JNAPS earlier, but since then, G2 haven't had as much success. Now missed. Had the read, but defended by G2. Another high touch here for Chicago, and JNAPS and Atomic both commit for it. Chicago left by himself. The 50 straight over to Sypical. Doesn't commit seeing Atomic there. He'll rather just take the ball back, try again. First killer also picking up a demo. Gives some space to FaZe. And they retain possession of this ball, the Chiefs. G2 are really starting to struggle getting that consistent pressure and possession.
Yeah, definitely some good ideas there from FaZe overall. Sypical letting that ball rotate or roll back to their own half, realizing that they rotated a little too far forward and needed to readjust, so it's definitely given a little bit of breathing room for G2 to go and fight for the ball here in the midfield. But now it's really on G2 to say, we definitely have control and we're definitely trying to set up scoring chances, because right now, FaZe definitely pretty locked in on defense. That's a big miss from Mist, but that demo on Atomic will stall all that momentum and buy enough time for them to get reset. And Chicago's still going to carve up the defense.
That's a dirty flick to the top corner. No boost. Sits underneath it, catches it perfectly on his hood, and just flips it up and in. You're absolutely right, Chiefs. Yesterday was crossbar hero, and today, nothing but net. Well, I mean, there was the post involved, but it went in the net. Atomic trying to square her up, dodges into his 50. JNAPS in the air. G2 waste absolutely zero time coming back to this series.
Getting right back in it. You're thinking, okay, FaZe may be able to hold him off here, but that's such a tough one for Sypical to get a hold of. Obviously, he's trying to get back across because he knows a shot's coming, just has to take his best guess from where and try and cover as much as the net as possible. It's all on JNAPS to really take what the defense gives him there, and he put a great shot on target to find an equalizer.
FaZe all of a sudden, it felt easy. We're talking about first killer's minute one hat trick, basically. And all of that completely wiped off the board. But Sypical, he puts one right back up there, taxed it on top.
Just went through pretty much for free here in the midfield. Chicago normally able to buy some time, and Atomic really kind of handcuffed himself there on the corner. I think he was thinking he was going to have a little bit better timing as he headed up that corner, but I think he realized he overdid it and ended up just dishing that one back out into the middle. This play on Atomic's part, to be sure, and late lead for FaZe.
Ton of offense in this first game. First killer trying to get that fifth. Sypical will make sure they get it. And a 5 spot for FaZe here with 40 to go.
Really nice push there from Sypical. Just noticing that, look, there's going to be a lot of congestion there in that corner. It's unlikely that anything gets punted over my head. We'll position aggressively in case something comes out my way. The decision pays off. He's right there to collect.
Now, FaZe in the playoffs they allowed 0.78 goals per game. And that included 2 teams that are going to the major. But against G2, they're far stretching that per game average for FaZe right now. Let's see if they can add a couple more. As Chicago comes across. He tried to dive for it, just a little too late. You can understand, though, G2 with no time in game 1. Trying to get back downfield, and there was the seam, but Atomic couldn't put it on target.
Jams, the right idea to go steal the boost on defense, but unfortunately no one on G2 can figure out where that ball needs to go in the net, or perhaps more importantly, has the positioning to place that where it needs to go in the net. FaZe will keep it down for 0 seconds, but really just keep away for the sake of it. But in general, FaZe pretty solid game overall. I mean, I would say across the board, relatively even, of course. Just kind of took a turn there at the end. First Killer getting a lot of work done early. And, you know, I think that's definitely what you have to lean on if you're FaZe. You got up early and you got up big early, and you definitely put a lot of pressure on G2. Now, you got to give G2 credit, obviously, for bringing that one back, but you never want to be in a spot where you have to make up that many goals against a team like FaZe.
It's not even the first time they had to do it today. Optic scored 3 goals against them in game 4, and then they scored 5 in a row right after that. Thought we were about to see a repeat. But, I mean, FaZe, those early goals, I'm sure, like you were saying, G2, maybe JNAPS doesn't lose the ball to First Killer in midfield, but sometimes, I mean, First Killer's just doing First Killer things. And we'll see what happens for G2 here. What do you make of this as we head to Forbidden Temple?
I mean, in general, I think you're right. We talked about a lot about it, First Killer. Obviously, you brought up how prolific he has been on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that if that's your benchmark for the best player on your team and he's that level of consistent, definitely going to have to take some time to really focus on limiting what he can do with it. It's been perhaps one of the best can openers we've seen in a long time in this game, or at least in this era of Rocket League, where defense has really stepped up pretty significantly, I would say, across the board. And he's the guy who's out there consistently getting the job done. Probably the biggest threat on this pitch, and I think it's right to rely on him more if you're FaZe Clan. And honestly, they said they wanted to take a few pages out of Genji's book, get more players involved in the offense, and rely a little bit less on, you know, some type of support player come through and be willing to give a little bit more to increase that offensive capability. I think that's a good idea.
They certainly showcased that through their last 2 tournaments as well. I mean, it's typical. You think about the tournament he had in the Winter Cup and missed, who today has just looked excellent. And he almost had one earlier, but even had the demo that opened up the goal for First Killer in game 1. So even if it's off ball, I do think FaZe are really getting it done in every segment of the game. Typical drop pass to First Killer, to the bite. The bar saves the day for G2.
That was the dish right there from Typical, straight down. G2 not ready for it. First Killer going to be kicking himself for missing that one. Obviously, it wasn't free. It did require good placement. Just overcooked it a little bit. Now he's got the flip reset, misses the bump, and there's Atomic. Talk about a guy who also gets it done on all aspects of the pitch. Great save there to get G2 back over on the offensive side, and they're getting a lot of good boost deals in as well.
JNAPS trying to get tricky, but forced back over to Atomic. G2 gets set up in midfield. Chicago forcing out the 50, back over to JNAPS. Got kicked off the play, but G2 are holding down the midfield line. Chicago had Atomic to bail him out. JNAPS just turns right back into the play. But G2 losing that touch, and JNAPS missed his wave dash, but all of FaZe were sitting back waiting for it. Chicago rips it off the bar, taken out, and FaZe with a quick transition, but JNAPS is rotated. G2 could try again, but a dangerous transition for sure.
G2 in general, they've got a pretty good control of the field. They're willing to sit over here on that FaZe half. It's just a matter of, can they find a way to break through that defense? Obviously, a lot of that pressure coming from controlling so much of the boost, but we've seen what FaZe can do on limited boost on defense. This typical First Killer, they'll make plays come when you just don't think it's even possible on the defensive side, and that's really what G2 has to contend with. Awkward save from JNAPS, but actually got a wonderful amount of height on it. Quite clear to say the least.
Considering that control that G2 had, to be impressed at least with First Killer. Has had an average of 50% in the tank, a little higher so far in the set. Despite all that G2 pressure, they haven't done enough to starve out FaZe. be a big reason why it's still 0-0. G2 trying a couple different ways to get through FaZe, but FaZe have slowly regained control of the ball. First killer starting that push, but Typical with that touch has to go the whole way back. Atomic trying to take advantage, but the 50 just screams out to the right, and now a battle in midfield. Another high ball. Typical gets the first look. Pass cut off by Chicago.
Gotta score.
And he can't whip around too quickly. He's got no boost. Atomic has to turn back quick. JNaps was also playing it tight. So everybody back for G2 is FaZe. Push on the... And Typical there, but denied by Atomic. First killer, another catch. JNaps starting to run out of boost. JNaps wins the 50 against first killer. Chicago dropped it against Mist. G2 denied a way out.
Chicago wanting a lot more on that clear, but realizing he didn't really have the boost, ended up kind of just giving the ball back, but thankfully his teammates were ready there in the midfield, so G2 resets. Going to be frustrated that they didn't convert that one chance where they had got through all three of FaZe for free. Granted, it's a tough read for Chicago. It's coming up over your shoulder, off the ceiling, and you really just have to have that innate understanding of where your car's going to be on when that ball is coming down, and just unfortunately couldn't quite size it up. But no harm, no foul. Still 0-0, anyone's game. Sometimes that's the way it goes.
Chicago lining this up. Typical pushes it away from him. First killer pushing for FaZe. G2 feeling a little bit of pressure as when they look out towards midfield, they see a swarm of orange cars. Missed. That's that one up. Atomic looking for JNaps to continue to trade touches. Gonna get that consistent possession. It's a free ball for JNaps, and quickly Mist got there. Was looking free for a little bit. Still a push for G2. Chicago waits in the box. One touch, a demo, shot denied. Typical comes in to save, but it's not over. Atomic slowing it down. Gets 2 touches, back to Naps. 0 seconds, and G2 take Forbidden Temple.
Man, FaZe was working hard too. I'm amazed they even pulled that first one out of the net. They had to make that save through a smoke cloud, had no clue which direction that shot was going to be going. Obviously, they know where it's coming from, but you don't know where it's going to go when you can't see. That was a huge first save, but G2 doing a great job rallying the troops, realizing the play's not done, and we still got good position here. Wheel right back around, and they smelled blood in the water. They jumped all over it.
Grand final will not be a sweep, but we will get our first, at least game 5 today. But like you said, heroic effort by FaZe on defense. 2 saves for first killer and a pair for Typical and Mist, but it's all G2. JNaps at the top of that scoreboard, but I continue to be impressed by Atomic, where his work behind the ball is simply incredible. How he enables Chicago and JNaps to keep pushes going. I really feel like Atomic, you talked about him being, you didn't say the first killer of this team, but you were comparing him to first killer in terms of the player that gets it all
gets
done.
It done and in pretty much every aspect. Like, you need a guy to be somewhere, he's probably right there.
Yeah, to me, that's so fitting. Because you remember back in the day, right? I mean, First Killer and Atomic, they used to play together all the time. They would rinse people back in the day in 2v2, 3v3, didn't matter. Those two pair up, it's disgusting.
Whoa,
Atomic is disgusting. A quick shot on the kickoff, G2.
What happens here, okay? Just a really slow cheat from Atomic. It's actually a slow cheat from both teams. I mean, First Killer was halfway back too. He knew that ball was rolling away from him. He just stopped, because what else is he gonna do? He's not quite sure what Atomic's going to do with that ball, and Atomic just recognized all I got to do is pump one top right. No one's getting there because it's the kickoff.
Now G2, a little bit of force. Chicago got the dunk and a follow-up touch right after. Makes life a little difficult for FaZe in the corner. First killer, next attempted clear. Looking for Typical, maybe. Flip resets there, and they find the seam! That's the heaviest traffic I've seen all day.
That really was squeezing one through a needle's eye. I mean, Atomic's right in First Killer's face, and Typical cuts the ball back across the net to the bottom post. I mean, G2's really just following that air dribble, and they're expecting their teammate to get a touch on that ball and lead that one to the corner. So, like you said, finding that seam opened up a lot of space for Typical to shoot for, and he didn't miss.
Just goals like that, it's pretty rare that you beat the first defender like that on a pass, to where you're literally seaming the ball between 2 cars. I mean, that looked crazy. But G2 non-plus behind as they get it downfield. Yeah.
FaZe just not messing around. If they get the chance, they say, you know what? There's no reason to force something here. Just take it back to our half, reset, They've, I think, definitely realized the value of not pushing too hard too quickly, if anything, from these last couple of tournaments in North America. Ball control is #1 priority.
Good drive from First Killer through the 50. It's an awkward touch for Atomic to handle. JNABS lets him follow through. And again, Typical rolling out to the side. Atomic under more pressure. Typical getting near them as well. They're just G2 getting chipped. And now JNABS left with 20 boost. Try to get down midfield. He gives it to Chicago. With that kind of quick shot, FaZe are ready for it. It's no problem for them.
There is value, you know, in your offense being able to up the pace. There's also value in recognizing when you can afford to try and let a play develop. And that really does seem to be what FaZe is going for at the moment when they get over onto that G2 half. It's, we don't have to push. We can, and that's really part of the fear of it, is you know that they can turn it on at any given point. Deep clear, fortunately not in between the sticks. As FaZe will keep this one tied at 1-1, but G2 finally a chance to breathe here. We'll see how long this offensive sequence lasts for them.
Ball gets away from Typical. He's got no boost, but Chicago pulled the whole way off, so he gets a chance at it. It makes things a little awkward for G2, but they have a way out with Chicago. On target, Mist takes it away. And JNABS is the whole way back on this. They need Atomic in Chicago, but it's pushed out to the right side. Nothing for him here. FaZe looking like they're going to break out.
Nothing for him there because Mist is so good. I mean, he didn't even hesitate on that last clear from G2. Just instantly turned and started to run back. Made a great save on a strong shot to the top of the net. Kept his composure, wheeled right back around, made a second one. Mist is such a mind for defense. Brilliant player on that side of the ball.
You know, he's really coming to his own on this roster. That's kind of why they picked him up, and at least what everyone assumed they picked Mist up for is to bring that consistency on the back line. And he does it in more ways than one. That's really helped out FaZe for sure. But G2 have kept FaZe out for now. See what they can draw up. That's a good high touch for JNABS. Atomic lets him drive. But Mist, there in midfield, will keep things locked. G2 continuing to have to avoid bumps. Mist harassing Chicago in net. He's not got a lot here. Avoids First Killer, and he's got a full tank. Now he overs Typical. What has Chicago got here? Atomic racing close. Recognizing the chance in front of them. JNABS has a little bit of boost as well. G2 all of a sudden, it starts to pick up, but another big clear from FaZe.
Yeah, that started to break down a little bit. You realized JNABS really kind of just fighting to buy a little time there in the corner rather than actually set something up. G2 had to give a little ground. They just didn't have the boost to try and keep that press going. And unfortunately for them, they've lost some boost on their own side as well. So they might just resort to dumping the ball up the field a little bit until they can kind of equalize the boost a little bit.
Another high touch for Chicago. Back to JNABS. G2 really trying those soft high touches. Atomic trying to get dirty. G2 unsuccessful again. They're starting to pull a little deeper into their bag of tools, but they just can't seem to find the right one to stick onto FaZe. Typical grabbing that midfield boost. JNABS coming back to stop the attack, but Typical, the dunk saved by Atomic. Can they actually get the ball out though? They're still in a little trouble. JNABS only 14. Chicago stuck on the wall. An odd touch. JNABS gets out, and the rest of FaZe have rotated out.
It was a good idea to fake right there and just kind of see if you pull G2 out of position, but JNABS had his head on straight. Oh, it doesn't matter. FaZe collects the clear. Like I say, G2 kind of just took that ball upfield and was trying to keep FaZe honest with the clear, but got a little bit away from JNABS, and he pulled off to go and grab some boost and let First Killer go through the midfield uncontested, and he made a pay.
That was just perfect execution from First Killer. Nothing too crazy. You know, nothing too complex, just a simple flip reset and the shot to the far side, and another big win from Typical in midfield. JNABS
nice, great.
Hurrying back quick with no boost, had to be careful.
Great adjustment from Typical as well. JNABS kind of went for that fake cut inward and then wheeled around the outside of the ball. Atomic grips one top side. JNABS is waiting patiently in the midfield. He didn't want to give anything too far up, but last chance here.
JNABS got the reset to Atomic. They just did it again! 2 games in a row! And G2, 0-second merchants here!
Calm under pressure. I mean, talk about the poise from Chicago saying, no, I'll dribble it back. We have 5 seconds, that's plenty. Dish the ball to JNABS, works an air dribble around a few defenders. Slides one out to Atomic, and boy, did he bang one that there at the top of the net. Great bit of play at 0 seconds from G2.
We got a brand new ball game here in game 3. FaZe looking like they were going to close it out. JNAPS has something to say about it. Now overtime has begun. First killer drives underneath one. Just punches through Atomic, but now what does Mist do? 61 as he leaves the wall. Chicago coming to challenge him. And a good challenge. Pacifical's got the ball. Flicks it high. JNAPS just gets there. First killer dove for it. Pacifical still got the ball. First killer in the air. Wanted the bump maybe as he adjusted. Chicago getting harassed. FaZe continue to press in the corner. Can they keep winning those 50s? JNAPS shakes his way by one, and First killer just makes life hard. Now he's got the read. Here he comes again. First killer drops it down. Mist sitting back on this. He's gonna go, but right up into G2. The backboard holding strong.
JNAPS is making FaZe work so hard. He's so quick to get up for these challenges. Chicago, bad spot, doesn't matter. First killer can't convert, smashes one off the post. The clear goes back down the other way, and FaZe probably could have closed it out right there, but what can you say? You want to make sure you get it around the guy, and you just go too far.
JNAPS trying to work quickly. He's out of boost. What? Mist able to stop it. 3-point passing play for FaZe. They need another one. They both come in, and they didn't get any power on it. FaZe, they felt the win right there, but they didn't get it. Now here comes Atomic the other way. Careens towards, but Typical stops them in his tracks. Mist pops it up over one. First killer too deep. He's got to use all of his boost to get back to it. Chicago now first behind the ball. G2 starting to hunt. Atomic still waiting for Typical, and he kills the ball, but that's First killers. Typical in front. JNAPS, he doesn't have to contend with a Typical touch. He did have to avoid a bump. But here comes Atomic, back to JNAPS, it's not over. Almost found each other. What demo? Oh my gosh! What? Now that is pinball. I know I've said pinball before. That was actually pinball, and nothing else I've ever seen was.
Oh, that again, FaZe really reacting. That's a great demo from First killer. It has to happen. You can't allow the chance to score as that one gets pushed off the backboard and stalled out above the box, but great reactions from everybody from FaZe to not own goal right there.
How did you not own goal?
They're about to get scored on. They demo the guy who's going to close it out, and then they go, "Hold up, don't panic, we got it."
Oh
great
man,
stuff.
what a wild OT. First killer driving downfield, reset over one, demo on another.
Gotta get
but
there,
FaZe
yeah.
still have the ball. First killer denied by JNAPS, and you talked about him earlier. He continues to be a thorn in FaZe's side on offense.
He's a menace. That guy is really making sure that FaZe, if they want to be the first to the ball, they got to be willing to kind of give up a little bit of possession with how aggressively he's challenging them. Atomic dishes one a little too far, and JNAPS now he's actually caught out of position, so he'll make the second best play, go steal the boost in the corner, and that actually may work out. But Atomic really doesn't have a lot either. He's just going to try and force the issue. And somehow G2's going to hang on to the ball here, but you have to imagine they're going to have to give up some space pretty soon, and there it is.
Oh, but First killer doesn't have a lot of boost. He has to come back down. Wasn't enough to shake the ball off Chicago. Mist last back as JNAPS gets a demo. Here comes Chicago, denied by Mist, and a nice little soft touch to Typical on the respawn. Seeing G2 have pulled off. Now Typical gets the flick, but Atomic quick read to push it back over to the corner. Oh, and Chicago tried to bite it early. Here comes Typical back to Mist! But Typical gets the goal, and FaZe deliver the win in Game 3.
Look at him just wait here. Hang on, we're not hitting it yet. We're not hitting it yet. Keep buying the free real estate in the corner. He's just put the fear in Atomic that he's going to smash one out to the middle, and Atomic just does not want to cut until he sees it. So Typical just holds him on the string until it's too late, dishes one mid, and there's no way Atomic was going to be able to save that one. Great bit of timing from FaZe to close that one out.
Man, look at the saves on both sides. He had 10 saves from G2, and he had 12 saves from
What is
FaZe.
that? 16
that
shots
checks out,
for
I
G2.
think. That's about how I felt.
9, what is that?
10.
14 for FaZe.
Oh, for
and then,
FaZe,
yeah, 16 for G2, so.
Yeah. Very
definitely the
intense.
most even game we've had so far. That's for sure.
Both teams are just getting such clean transitions. But you were talking about how FaZe have like this more layered approach where they're trying to play a little more like Gen G. And maybe this isn't like a Gen G thing, but just the patience to recognize immediately when G2 have pulled off the ball.
Yeah,
where
a lot of
in the past, FaZe might have just dumped that downfield, right?
Exactly. I mean, you saw it when Typical was in the box, and I even said it. I was like, awkward, help.
Yeah.
And then Typical just didn't even do anything. He just landed because someone calls out, you have time. And so they just let the ball land. And then he starts that transition from a place of strength rather than rushing that clear and just pushing it upfield. and he's actually able to convert it into a goal-scoring opportunity. And that all goes back to communication and being aware of the situation on the pitch and where the opponents are and what they can actually do. And FaZe figured that one out pretty quick.
G2, despite the heroic 0-second effort, a long OT could not separate them ahead of FaZe. Chance for FaZe to put this series on match point early, but based on how G2 have looked, very well maybe in for a long one. That's a deep clear. Mist gets underneath.
Kick left.
And
greedy. Typical was standing right there at the top of the box. And
he wants those points, bro.
First killer's like, nah, man, I got this.
He needs to be first in goals per game. It's just not. It's not enough.
It's true. It's true.
I don't think first killer actually cares. But if he did, then great. Or maybe not. Another demo. Typical trying to get back. It doesn't matter though. JNAP will collect. And G2.
I mean, you think you're safe right there, and Typical realized that saw that pass was going to be a little too far. First killer, he was in position. He was deep back, but surprise, surprise, demo in the blind spot. Never saw it coming. And G2 just poke one right down the midfield line, and they may get it back on the kickoff. Atomic quick to shut that down.
How's G2 size this one up long? Going to be difficult when Mist forces you back beyond midfield. Typical here. Oh, Mist with a nice little wheel touch, but Atomic hit that with the corner of his car. I didn't think Atomic would get a chance at that touch. It doesn't matter. FaZe still push forward. JNAP's last line of defense. Passed right back to him from Chicago. Atomic getting in the way.
Whoa.
He's got him, but Typical saves, well, Mist from annihilation truly. As he pops it right by Chicago. Typical. How about his pushes down? First killer got another touch. Back to Mist. Mist, first killer got the ball.
It worked.
And could you draw that one up again and hit it just as perfectly? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't think to go towards the wall here with JNAP's camped back there, but the understanding that FaZe killer and first is just going to go up and hit him to create the open space on the backboard. That's
and the amount of time too that happened. Like he got the bump and the shot immediately goes in. Like it was just perfect execution.
That is quite an idea. Certainly one that is only going to happen in an RLCS match. You will never, do not do that in your ranked games. Do not just pump one towards the ball because your teammate may go get a demo on the wall. That is not a good idea unless you guys know what you're doing.
Oh, Mist. Got the catch. FaZe time to get back. Typical. Done with Chicago. First killer. Done with JNAPs. Typical. Made it work somehow. And now he gets around it as Chicago had to leave for a save. JNAPs gets there before Mist. First killer happy to wait. Chicago actually a little far off the ball here. First killer driving once. Atomic trying to get them back out. Typical continues to delete the opposition. FaZe trying to hang on to this ball.
Really excellent job on defense there. And here's a big chance. Big miscue from FaZe. They bump into each other, but that's kind of the difference right there. You saw Chicago immediately rip that one up the field to try and start a counterattack, but that's the difference, I think, right now. You see FaZe, they're aware of the timing. They're aware of this space. They try and use it as much as possible. G2 just feels a little bit like, okay, let's just get it out and let's see what happens. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to be enough.
Good read from first killer. Typical up to the ball quick. Got the catch, but it fell down a little too quickly for him. JNAPs with a low air dribble, and Atomic just pumps it up quick. Trying to make it awkward for FaZe. Still working towards the box, but there it is again. Just, you get one or two chances, both sides. Oh my God, you only get one chance against first killer. He absolutely obliterates G2.
Picks up 100 in the corner at the perfect time, and he just pumps one towards the backboard, and oh
God.
Atomic, you're good, but I don't think anyone in the RLCS gives respect to the perfect pinpoint shot top left on the backboard read right there. That is a thing of beauty from first killer.
Another demo from Typical. Got 4 of them so far in this game. Pop downfield. It's JNAP's trying to slow it down. A good touch, but missed timing. And it might put G2 in a tough spot here. First killer falling back down on it. G2. Are we in another scenario where we see them just pull out the clutch gene? Or are FaZe gonna make this even more difficult? JNAP says no, but first killer says yes.
Nice bit of shooting here from First Killer. Obviously, the pressure from FaZe building and Sypical really just keeping the defense honest, but deceptive approach right there. Definitely looks like he's just trying to jam one straight through and ends up rotating the car backwards to go to the soft part of the net, the back post. Able to squeak it through a couple defenders with that shot.
Oh, it was a good idea on the kickoff. Neutralize the 50, get it back to Atomic, get a quick hit. Worked earlier for G2. They got stuffed on it. Chicago waiting downfield. He sees his wingman, but just a little too lofty for Atomic. Chicago needs something a little bit harder at the net. Now First Killer got the catch out. Another demo missed. Taking one out this time. First Killer behind the ball, just lets it hang. Typical. Pops it away, doesn't want to give Atomic a free chance. And FaZe are successful as missed. Here he comes off the ceiling and a soft touch. First Killer gonna take that one away.
Oh, okay.
FaZe have bought themselves plenty of leeway here. They have control of the ball. G2 down by 2.
Really is time waste mode right now for FaZe. Really trying to just not overthink it. Just put the pressure here on Chicago so that they can't convert for free. And then, yep, dump that ball down, close out the clock. And okay, FaZe Clan under, I would say, 30 seconds, really just focused on just don't push super hard, really just dribble. And we're just going to make them try and take the ball off us and just make sure we've got people back. That was all clock management at that point.
Now G2, they do call a timeout here. Trying to just take a breath. Extra 60 seconds. Maybe Sathu's got some words of encouragement, words of wisdom from Sathu. Sathu says a lot of smart things. He's a smart guy. But G2, they're a smart team. They know what they have to do. What do you think is going to get by FaZe right now? Because for my market Chiefs, I'll be honest with you, FaZe's transitions are like ultra fast. They just don't let G2 spend any time. Even when they do break through the midfield, like, there just always seems to be a FaZe car that's got the better of you in their own half. Like G2, it feels like they're just, like, everything dies on offense as soon as they get there.
Well, that's part of what I was hinting at a little bit, right? That's why those FaZe counterattacks, or at least some of their transitions, feel a little bit more put together, because there's a bit more awareness taken for the timing of those things. Like, you saw Typical just let that ball bounce on his own half when he's under pressure, or at least when you think that he should be under pressure, and they've all got the poise and awareness to communicate and be like, we're not in danger here, we can let that bounce, and then you start that counterattack from a place of strength. And sure, even if that lets G2 get set, your offense is a lot more potent when you've got 2 or 3 people actually ready to go up and really press a defense. And G2, as I started talking about, just kind of feels like sometimes you've got the time and the space, but you're just dumping one down. And obviously it helps when, First Killer's hitting double taps into the top left-hand corner from the left side of the net off a double tap that's deep in the corner. That helps too, of course. But I really do think that FaZe are taking their time when they've got their time, and those counterattacks are just a little bit more well thought out.
Now G2, they've certainly had some convincing pushes. Not to say like they've been flat on offense. I don't think that at all.
Certainly not. This game they put up 16 shots.
Yeah, I mean
they can press
tons of shots. But like I don't know. Like I think about all of the demos Typical got. 2 of them in particular. They had 5 total, and 2 of them absolutely killed what would have been extended G2 pushes. So like it's not all like we always sit up here and say like, oh well, they were more physical. I probably say that a lot, but it's really more about when those demos are happening, and I think that Typical definitely had a big role to play as far as that's concerned. So as we're already in to Wasteland, what do G2 have to do? How do they draw this one up? How do they get by FaZe, who have been playing an excellent game so far in the tournament?
Gotta start with ball control. Went for the cheeky pinch all the way down the middle. I honestly would have loved to see that go in the FaZe net, but it was not to be. Came off a little bit soft. And that's where I really think it starts. So in general, if you're G2, gotta focus on ball control. Look at this, like that was not a good touch. And so he just realized, I'd rather have boost than go and try. What?
Oh!
No. This cannot be a goal.
Uh-oh, why?
There is no, okay. Look at Typical. He's in the net. He has 36 boost. Look how soft this is. Atomic even pulls way off that ball. Like
I think Yeah, but I think he jumped
himself.
He jumped when Atomic jumped, though.
Yes,
because he's
like,
seeing that ball
Atomic's
come
gonna
forward.
jam it.
But I think he misjudged the arc of the ball too, because I think he was more focused on Atomic, maybe.
I think he played himself. That's not a good goal to give up. Nah, who cares?
You know what's great? You know what's great, Achieves, about playing yourself when you're teaming with First Killer? First Killer's on your team! He's got all the space in the world, bro! You're not gonna save that!
And that flip reset's not even fair. I mean, JNAP says he's rotating into the net there. His teammate's got a pretty decent challenge. Like, he's right in First Killer's face. There's a pretty high chance that at least some part of that challenge tips that ball in a different direction. But the fact First Killer got through so clean and it changed the direction of the ball to go to the back post. Atomic with a monster dunk, but not rewarded for it. Kicks off the post. FaZe just, honestly, they got away with, I won't say they got away with a mistake. First Killer made a brilliant play to equalize what I think was a pretty ugly goal to give up.
Certainly. But, oh, how about this one? Is this one a little prettier for you, Chiefs? You like that?
This one's much better. You could definitely say you earned this one if you're G2. This time they take control of that space. They don't start the counterattack too fast. Chicago sizes up that challenge right in front of them, flicks at the proper time. Atomic cherry pick positioning deep up the field, crisscrosses the defenders as they're trying to swivel back around to the net. Great bit of pass and shoot and timing from G2.
I don't think JNAP wanted a pure catch there like he got. He had no boost. Couldn't do much with the ball. JNAP's demos a guy on their side of the field. And that was typical, so he spawns right in the perfect spot.
Can feel that change
downfield. He's just been so... Every time he just comes down to the side on the ramp, he just doesn't lose a single contest. Typical literally does not lose a single contest when he goes from his side of the field, whether he's on the wall or the ramp. He can have 4 cars barrel on him at once. Typical's still going to win the 50 and give First Killer the goal.
And he took all the space there in the midfield. He's like, well, G2 backed off. Okay, I just let this ball come down and think about how to get this ball to First Killer in the most optimal way to shoot. What does First Killer do at that point? Well, Atomic's stuck on the backboard. Just shoot it right where he's about to fall off, and no one's going to save this.
I don't think First Killer knows how to not be involved. It's just, man,
okay, is
insane. Always can be relied on, especially when you got a guy like Typical who's winning the midfield like he has been. You're going to be eating pretty good. Typical, though. One gets sent away. He'll do just that. And stick right behind it. Almost gave Typical a chance to win that against JNAP's. Miss gets bumped out of the way. First Killer knows he's got to get set. And he got there quickly. Excellent read there from First Killer.
Atomic was going for the real tester shot. He was thinking, you know, maybe FaZe isn't going to give me the respect for putting this one on target. First Killer knows better. He's played too much against Atomic.
It's true. But G2, they've still been able to break through that FaZe line. Typical knocks the ball away again. I'm starting to get that feeling. I know it's tied. Most of these games have been 1-goal games or tied, but it just feels like FaZe has a little bit more. Like they have just a bit more threat than G2 do. Sure, G2 have had the threatening touch, and they've had their chances downfield. They're even getting some demos. FaZe, though, look, they stuff him right there. It's Typical just drills through another 50.
Straight to the neutral part of the field. Nothing wrong with that. But here's a good push from... Whoa!
Oh!
See, the thing about watching a player like Atomic is he's so good, you could totally believe that he, like, misses that air... Like, he fakes the, like, he gets the flip reset, and then he misses the ball on purpose, right? And he'd be like, oh, but he's going for the demo. And you just never know, right? It's like, okay, did you plan that, or did you just miss it?
It's so hard when they're this good. You're like, I could see a world where he was definitely going for a fake there. But either way, FaZe still managing the ball well on defense, but G2 are starting to win the challenges a lot more. That can all turn on its head real quickly because Typical shot denied by Atomic. As Miss puts it underneath, but it's off the post. And there's Typical! He just won't leave! He plants his flag, he's sitting a while.
Yeah, that's so frustrating that really can't go in. Chicago, I think, really expected Atomic to come up with a touch right there, and I don't think he thought there was any world where that ball got through unscathed and just rolled up a post like that, threw him for a loop as the second man in the net. And FaZe again finds a way to put themselves in the lead sub 1 minute. Not the first time that's happened in this series.
Not even the second time it's happened in this series. JNAP's underneath, one fake. JNAP's denied. First Killer done watching JNAPS just Sunday stroll his way through the orange half. Now Chicago with 31, trying to catch missed out. Hard to do though. JNAPS following it close. Doesn't get a second touch, like he was rolling for one. And right on top of him, a big win from First Killer. Maybe G2 have something here with 20 seconds. JNAPS looking for a bumper. Who's the 50?
Oof.
There's missed. He might end it right there, but taken away. First Killer got the first, the second, the third. First Killer around the world and keeps time on his side, but G2, they've done it twice. Can they do it thrice? JNAPS over high. First Killer kills the ball. FaZe Clan absolutely wipe the competition off the map in the Winter Invitational. Undisputed #1 in North America.
Brilliant display there from First Killer closing out that game. You see him go towards the backboard and then catch it again and thinking, oh, he's going to score it. And of course, everyone on G2 gives him the respect, and he just takes that flip reset, wastes so much more time off the clock, dishes it left, takes that one back. And FaZe, you are not kidding, undisputed. That was a calm, cool, collected, cold as ice grand final from him. Yeah, G2 got one, but
G2 didn't even look that bad, man.
They didn't look bad.
Like we're watching them play, and you're like, yeah, the game's close, but like it just looks like FaZe are the better team. They're just
you're just gonna get beat some days.
They were just so good, dude.
You're just gonna get beat some days.
Like, how's First Killer make the simplest flip resets like the most difficult things to save? Where like you thought all the league figured it out, man, but like no one's figuring FaZe out right now. They downloaded something. Rolt is convinced First Killer to look at more replays, and like when First Killer said that, I was scared, and now I'm terrified of what FaZe are gonna do in San Diego. Let's just achieve. What do you got? Last word for you.
Yeah, FaZe is pretty good, and I want to know what the desk has to say.
Yeah, let's go.
Great question. What do we have to say? That was it was quite the show for FaZe Clan, Gibbs.
Yeah, like I got one name, and that's First Killer right here. Like First Killer, what a series from him here. Like the whole team played well, but this was really First Killer. Just every time he had space, he's in the air. G2 did not know what to do with him, and he really showed that like he's back in that conversation. He probably never left, but he's definitely back in the conversation for best player in the world. And I want to talk to T-Bates after this because he was hyping up Atomic again. But First Killer, what a showing here by him and FaZe. Another regional win. That is now 3 for them on the year. They've won half the regionals. Now they just got to do it at the major, Daz.
They do. The question is, can they? Obviously, G2 going to the major as well. So this was really kind of a seeding battle overall, and to see where these two stood head to head. Clearly, FaZe though have been playing on that hot note. But can they keep it up? This is time we're gonna see FaZe come from 4th clan to 1st clan is the question.
And this is the best we've ever seen for FaZe. We all agree. So I can't wait for the Winter Major.
Well, standing by now, your regional winner with James Spot, it is First Killer.
First Killer, thank you for joining me, and congratulations on winning back-to-back regional events.
Thank you, James.
So first, I mean, we've all been watching, and you guys have looked incredible. I mean, Chronic tweeted about it yesterday, how, you guys are just better. And, looking back on your recent success, it's clear there was a moment where something just switched. When, in your words and in your opinion, was that moment? Was it a practice? Was it in a tournament? When was it?
I think we always knew how to beat them, how to beat Gen G, but for the longest time, we were just scared of them for no reason. And every time we played against them, we would just play 10 times worse than what we normally play. And we were just scared of them for no reason.
Well, I mean, talking about overcoming that fear, and also just outside of Gen G, I watched you guys when you played NRG. You were, hitting these pre-jump plays, even against Gen G. When you guys took them down the last time, there was pre-jump plays, and today you're back passing to each other right in front of your box. It seems like there's a different level of trust, and that there's something, beyond just the mechanics. Your synergy has reached a new level. How were you guys able to bring that out?
After the first regional of the split, we found out that we had no trust. Like, we figured out that we had no trust, and we had to, I don't know, I guess hang out with each other more. We need to build up more of a bond to, because every team needs trust, because if you don't have trust, then you're not a team. It doesn't work out. So we just started, talking more to each other, and I don't know. It's just like after scrimming for a long time, like 3 scrims a day, every day, we just started to build trust, and then everything came together.
And it sounds like that trust has just been growing. Are you playing any games or anything outside of just Rocket League scrims, or are you guys just keeping it just to the scrims?
I mean, Mess and Sid play a lot of Call of Duty, but yeah.
Okay, well, just changing focus a little bit towards NA in general. Obviously, North America has been talked about by a lot of people with all these international transfers, Gen G, complexity. It's really changed the landscape in North America. And I'm curious what you think about the current state of North America, looking at it through that lens.
I think it's cool, to have South Americans and Europeans in North America competing. I don't know. It's kind of a change of pace because, North American teams, they they just have a different play style, and it's kind of cool to me that we scrim against them almost every day. And yeah, it's just cool to me.
Has it made your job more difficult?
Not really, no.
Well, I guess it's fair to say that. And honestly, you're talking about difficulty of jobs. You had to play all the other top 4 teams in North America this event. And now looking ahead to the major, which one of these teams, whether, it's G2, Complexity, or Gen G, which one do you think poses the biggest threat to you guys?
Probably Gen G. I think right now we figured them out, but I think they'll bounce back and they're going to be a threat to us again.
Well, first, Killer, also, you guys are going to be coming to San Diego to play at the major. Do you have any boot camp plans already worked out? And if you do, what are they?
Nah, we're not boot camping this time because we boot camped for the last major and it didn't go too well. We didn't do that one in Rotterdam. We got a really slow start, so we're going to just keep it.
All right, got to keep it simple. Well, congratulations again, and I look forward to seeing you in San Francisco.
All right, see ya.
He's going to be in the wrong spot if he's in San Francisco.
Oh, don't out games like that. Don't out them. Just let it go. Just let it go. But FaZe, they only let 2 games go throughout this entire bracket. We see them, one against Gen G, one against G2. Besides that, 3-0 and a 4-0. So well done by FaZe. Really, really showing that when it comes to online regionals, FaZe has got it.
Yeah, this is Daz, quite the show. Like, it's just, this was a statement. I mean, even when you hear it coming from Gen G that they're just the better team, and then you also have that confidence that the FaZe saying like, "Nah, our job ain't harder." Like, they just shutting down multiple regions at once too with these statements.
Yeah, they're shutting down a lot. First, he was talking about how he's figured teams out. There's this whole conversation about the whole figure out meta. We won't bring that onto the show, but FaZe Clan definitely look on top right now. They're sitting, back-to-back regional wins. The confidence is there from them. The teamwork is there for them. And it feels like this may even be the best iteration of FaZe as from their entrance as an organization up until now. They look in prime form to actually be able to take this major. It's possible.
Well, let's take a look at it all. Fit together at the end, Gibbs. We came into this weekend with a bunch of puzzle pieces strewn about, and we finally have that big picture heading in to San Diego.
And that top 4 so tight. FaZe, the number 1 seed by 1 point. Gen G will be right behind them. G2 wins the tiebreaker for most points overall, so they get the 3rd seed. Complexity will be your 4th, and then Dignitas squeaks in where everyone was battling. Like, look at that, a 5th through 12th. Just 9-point difference right there. So Dignitas will go to their very first LAN in North America.
And a depth desk.
I mean, I love it though. I mean, I especially just to talk about Andy. I remember when I casted Andy's very first LAN 2v2 years ago, and to see Andy grow and become this player to finally be at a major, especially also talking about Evo as well, and then Drees, of course, making his return to a LAN environment. These guys have been working so hard to get there. Obviously, definitely very proud of them. It's going to be tough at the major, but they've made it this far. Hopefully, they can stand up with the best.
Well, if you want to hang out with us at this wondrous event, live Rocket League is always the greatest thing ever. Just the energy, surrounding it all and seeing it in person and hanging out with fans of a similar mind, all there to celebrate Rocket League. You can get your tickets and you can join us. You can hang out and you can celebrate Rocket League. Exclamation point tickets in the chat, or head over to rl.gg/Winter Major tickets live. While we're on this topic, because let's talk about it, because we're done after this. The next stop is San Diego. That's the next place Rocket League Esports is going to be happening. So I'm just curious, Daz and Gibbs, what are you looking forward to most? And say it very loud and energetic so that people join us there. Daz, what are you looking forward to most?
Say it loud and energetic. Crazy. Listen.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have a lot to talk about at the major. Top 5 teams, teams around the world. There's going to be more discussion that's going to creep up about top players going in. This is where people submit their spots, not only just at the Winter Major, but on the road to the World Championship. I want to see the best of the best here that the world has to offer in terms of Rocket League. You're going to get that if you go to the Winter Major.
Well, I feel bad for Dazarin and T-Bates because there's going to be an empty chair next to him because Roll Diz is putting in work. FaZe coming in, the #1 overall seed in NA, and he's going to be putting work all the way to the grand finals. No more of this top 4 nonsense. All right, Roll Diz, we want to see you in the grand finals, and I want to see FaZe take their very first international land. I'm calling it now. FaZe takes it.
Oh, God.
Are you ready?
I'm calling it.
Dad's like, I don't want to deal with this.
Gibbs, there's no way you said that.
That's it. It's in the book.
K-Corp's gonna be there, Gibbs.
Yeah, but they'll lose in the quarterfinals to some no-name Moist squad or whatever.
my
Whoever
God.
it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Either way, you can see how excited we get about it is because it's always a fun time. So please join us there, get your tickets. Again, click the link in chat or head over to that link, rl.gg/Winter Major tickets live. But that's it. We're done with the split. The regionals are all finished up, and the next stop will be in San Diego on April 6th to 9th. We had better see you there. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you in San Diego. We will.
Before school's gotta get worse, and sometimes it's gonna hurt. If you're ever gonna get that bad, then you better plan your attack. You're braver than you know it. You're strong than you show it. You're braver than you know it. You're stronger.
You can save an average of 2 times more with our smart savings tools. For everything we want, we're all better off with an ally.
Tries to send one to the back of the net, and he will triple touch. You said the double might work out. How about a triple?
Oh my! This time, fire! Try to clear this away. Landing on the foot of Anthony. Picks up the save. It's still there for two. He scored! Shaping up to be the game Carmine Court needed. Astral also coming off the ceiling. Oh! He's on a different plane! What was that? He's not real! I really like the adjustment from Nolly. Oh! Yeah, me too, Joby. I really like how Nolly's looking. 1-0 Gen G. He's looking real good after that.
I would love to see the stats to see who has been picking up those pads a little bit more. We'll have to wait and find out, because Thad, he's got some ideas of his own. Composure from straight